some more of Katawa Shoujo. In the previous recording, we got introduced to all of our potential love interests in the game. Where we immediately left off is we heard that Rin, the girl with no arms, has some big project she's working on, and we're gonna go see what that's all about. So without further ado, let's just jump back into it, shall we? We leave the main building, and Rin leads us onwards toward the dorm. We stop at a small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. Probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the gray, plastering that cover against the gray. Oh my god, let me take that from the top. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. Can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better, and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent, waving a little with her arm, or whatever of it there actually is, to demonstrate, even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around and makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student base's special properties has in the past few days. This girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm going to try to figure out if there's something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So, this is your project. You did this? Yes. Yes. All of it. Yes. Nice, but I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into the minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. Feels that I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed it already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. Can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist. Seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figure painting may not be a problem either. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat. You know, flat, like some people are. No substance, no meat where there should be some. I know a few girls who, okay, I get it, but I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. Can't name many artists or artistic terms. So I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugs her shoulders at that, saying, suit yourself without saying it, looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done. If you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little bit before it's too dark. I want to get a halogen lamp like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Rin sure is quick to recruit my help, as was Shizune. It really makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? I'm not really sure if I can be of any help, though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that. Probably. Do you have motor control problems? Like, you know, those people who have some? I love it. Cerebral palsy, maybe? Not that I know of. I get it. Heart thingy has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it it doesn't. Let's do it then. So she sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work every now and then, asking me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last milliliter before she's satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Add half a splash of green. Crouch down to pick up the can of bright green. The other green. This green. Carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. No, it's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? No idea. You're the artist here. A hint of a smile appears in the corners of her mouth. Do you like an opinion? No, it's just that I have no idea. It's okay, because I just got an idea. Add more white. With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life in your dream but can't remember it. Maybe it's yellow. Despite the impossibility of mixing a color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Seeing a painting being born on the plastered wall feels like magic. I spend the moments I have between mixing paints, crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of the other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest time. Even those short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu code words for various paints and hues, as if there was some need to conserve words and breath and sound. We stay there late into the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. The sound of an alarm pulls me out of a fitful slumber and into the unpleasant state of wakefulness. I linger under the blanket for a few minutes, gathering energy to rise up while making excuses for why I already haven't. Honestly, I wouldn't mind staying here for all day. School is surprisingly exhausting after a long pause, and the culture shock still has not faded, I think. Still, despite getting an impression that skipping class is easy here, I don't think they're gonna let me get away with it that easily. And the nurse is bound to keep breathing down my neck with this talk of exercising as well. So eventually I do rise up, swallow the morning medications, and put on my old soccer clothing. Thanks to my condition, I was exempted from taking part in gym classes at Yamaka, so I didn't get issued with a gym outfit. I'd order some to cover such a contingency, but wearing my old soccer clothes is kind of nostalgic. Can't use them for that anymore, so maybe they can get a new life this way. A bit like me. After all, if I'm going to start taking care of myself, I can't afford to slack around. I'll start from the basics. Basics which include keeping the rest of my body in shape, along with what little I can do to strengthen my heart. Maybe then I can go back to something approaching a normal life, or at least something where I'm less likely to fall over dead at any minute. I'm surprised to discover that I'm not the only one present at the track. Hell yeah. Not just that, but it's a face I've seen before. The prosthetic-legged girl who bowled me over in the hallway yesterday is running on the track, lithely, like a half-mechanical gazelle. What was her name again? It was a short one, but I can't remember. She seems to be running laps at a somewhat easy lope, her prosthetic legs clacking rhythmically on the hard track surface. I wonder what reason she has for running this early in the morning. Maybe it's something akin to mine, and the nurse is oppressing the poor girl to jog just like he is oppressing me. I certainly wouldn't be here if it weren't for my health, and his prompting me to do so. And even with things being like they are, it's only because I wanted to get it out of the way early. The fact that I would be less likely to encounter someone who would witness my pitiful attempts to get in shape was merely a happy accident. I'd leave, but it seems that my former assailant noticed me on her last lap. She waves at me cheerfully and jogs over. Good morning. Your name's Hisao, right? She grins, seemingly pleased that she'd remembered my name. You may not remember me.
Emmy, I knocked you over in the hall yesterday. Miss Ibarazaki?
She imitates Misha's imitating Shizune, failing to get the same kind of subdued lilt into her high-pitched voice. How could I forget such a blunt introduction? Emmy has the decency to look vaguely apologetic for a moment before giggling.
Yeah, sorry about that. Again.
Well, as long as you don't make a habit of it, I suppose I'll be fine.
Great.
I'm not sure she realized I was joking. So the spy consultant the nurse was talking about, is that actually you?
That's right.
Oh. I was expecting someone from the nursing staff, to be honest.
What? Are you saying I don't look like I could be a spy?
No, this is more like a relief. I was afraid he would have someone to watch my every move. Unless you're here to do exactly that.
No, I'm here for my own reasons. The nurse just asked me if I'd seen a messy hair transfer student who looks like he's kinda lost around the track.
So why are you down here? Emmy strikes a dramatic pose.
Training.
For what?
Track.
Ah, I see. You're on the track team then. Emmy nods enthusiastically.
Yep, I'm one of the better runners too.
And modest about it too.
Hey, you should join up. It's good exercise, you know.
I think that much activity is probably out of the question for me. Nah, I'm not sure that I really like running all that much. Plus, I'm just not into organized sports, you know? It's true, I never even really got that much into soccer. I mean, I'd run around with my friends and all, but that was really the only reason I ever played. It wasn't for the glory to be found on the field, that's for sure. Emmy seems to understand my meaning.
I see. Not in that whole organization thing. But now that you're here, I guess we're gonna run together, huh?
What? Sure, I guess. Emmy seems pleased.
Are you going to warm up?
Real men don't warm up.
Oh no, you should always warm up. Bad Hisao.
She scolds me enthusiastically, but then smiles and leans closer.
I hate warming up too.
She laughs suddenly.
Heck, and I don't even have to stretch my legs.
As if to confirm her statement, she bounces up and down a couple times, giving a passing impression of standing on a pair of springs. Her leg blades seem to be quite elastic.
Let's go.
So we both take off around the track, and I can immediately see that she wasn't lying about being good at running. Emmy moves fluidly, throwing herself into the run with a sort of wild abandon. I find myself concentrating more on running properly. Hands spread, right? And something about hitting on the balls of your feet rather than the heels. Try to match my stride to Emmy's, but it's pretty difficult. Apparently I'm not very good at it. Maybe Emmy could help me with that sometime. I'm really not feeling up to more than a couple of laps today, and slow to a walk pretty quickly. Emmy keeps running and doesn't seem to notice I've stopped until she passes me a second time. She quickly skids to a halt, breathing steadily in contrast to my own somewhat gasping demeanor.
Finished already?
I hang my head ruefully. Yeah. I'm not in very good shape right now. Emmy nods and then grins at me again. She seems to do a lot of smiling. Hell yeah, she does.
Well, the important thing is that you started, right? Next time you just have to try and hold out longer, and then longer, and longer, and eventually you'll be great.
I'll keep that in mind. I think right now I'm gonna go get ready for class. Shouldn't you? Emmy shrugs unconcernedly.
Nah, I've got plenty of time.
I notice that she's not wearing a watch. Are you sure? Another careless shrug.
Not really, but I've got to finish my routine. See you later, Hisao.
Yeah, see ya. Not sure whether this morning's experiment was a success or a failure, but I'll admit that I do feel slightly good about getting out there this morning. And like Amy said, I just need to keep at it in order to get better, right? Practice makes perfect, or something like that. It's nice to at least feel like I've taken some semblance of control over my own health. I'll have to try to keep this up. Damn right you will. I head back to the dorms to wash and change into my uniform, trying to resist the urge to take a really long and hot shower. I'm tired from all the running, so I just want to unwind, but I don't want to break my slowly building routine of getting to school before the morning rush. After taking a long shower anyway, I dry myself off and get out of the stall to put on my clothes. Out of nowhere, a shadow appears within the mist, looming and radiating malicious intent. It bursts through the fog.
What's up?
What are you doing here? What the hell? You scared me. What's your problem?
I should be asking you that. Been looking for you all over the place, man.
What do you mean all over the place? I want to ask if you've been looking for me like that, stark naked, but hold my tongue back. I finally realize I'm still naked too and quickly hold up my shirt in front of me, but Kenji doesn't seem to notice a thing. His glasses are fogged up, but then why doesn't he wipe them off? His his vision so bad it's like he's perpetually seeing through fog.
You know, your room, and yeah, that's it. Hey, I mean, I still had to get up though. Whatever, it's not important. Can I borrow some money?
Puts on an innocent face and looks away, trying very hard to look casual. It doesn't work. He's as transparent as his window pane-sized glasses. Talking neutrally like this, wearing nothing, feels awkward. Actually, somehow it's even more awkward to be naked in front of someone when they can't see me being naked. Say nothing of the fact he's naked as well. Try to brush the feeling off with little success. Money? Sure.
Awesome.
Wait, why do you need it?
Can you just give it to me because I had the goodwill not to run through your pockets while you were in the shower? I could have, but I exercised restraint. And in the end, isn't that the thought that counts? Come on, be a pal.
This makes no sense. If it's the thought that counts, I should withhold payment since his thoughts are so clearly impure, and his intentions are probably even more sinister since he can't tell me what they are. I say as much to him.
I'm offended, man. But if that is your game, then fine. Guess I have no choice. I want to order a pizza. I already have most of the cost of the pizza. I need your help for the rest.
I get some of that pizza too, right?
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I would give you some, but you have class. You don't have time to eat a pizza.
What about you?
I'm not going to class. I have to wait for the pizza and pay the guy, and then eat it. It's not easy. You have to obtain the pizza stealthily. If you don't, everyone will see you, and the pizza, they'll ask for a slice. It's a hard world out there. Everyone wants a piece. Then you're left pizzaless in an unforgiving world. It's happened before. That's how I know. Every day I plan my vengeance so that when the people who wronged me order a pizza, I will be there, ever vigilant.
Kenji strikes a dramatic pose, completely without irony.
But yeah, I only need like 400 yen. Please, you're my only hope. Can't go outside and buy my own pizza, it's too far. Try not to go out unless it's absolutely necessary. Let me tell you what happened last time I went out carefully without planning it in advance. I was outside. Can't remember what I was doing. Something? Standing? Maybe. Wondering how I got there. And then out of nowhere, it happened. Like a flash of lightning, splitting the sky, like how you split a sandwich in 2 equal pieces to make it more manageable to hold and eat. A bird crapped on my head. It was the second most shocking moment of my life.
What was the first? He ignores me and keeps going. I want to grab him and shake him. Is he just trying to keep momentum? I'll go with that, even if it's more likely he just didn't hear me.
It was like in the openings of some kind of anime show. You know how there's always the part where the main dude is fighting his rival, and they fly at each other and clash with swords, and there's like a big dramatic colored auras and zoom? It was like that, but with poo.
Okay.
So yeah, I need some money. Please, don't leave me hanging, man. I only need like 1,000 yen.
I thought it was 400.
Okay.
What?
I'll pay you back, I swear.
Better. That's what it means to borrow stuff.
I don't know when I'll be able to pay you back.
You have 1 week.
Ah!
Kenji winces and makes a noise like a dying cow, particularly disturbing fact given that his baton is conducting freely.
You're not supposed to be so tight-ass about money between brothers in arms, man. Men have it bad enough as it is. Did you know that male porn stars only make about half of what the female porn stars make?
That doesn't mean anything unless you're a porn star.
So maybe I am a porn star on the side, struggling to make ends meet as I fight the feminist agenda. You can't even spot me your crumbs, you bastard. Nobody understands. Nobody.
Wouldn't feminists be against pornography in the first place? This feminist agenda stuff again.
This stuff is important. I can see that you don't give a shit, but this is serious here. Feminists are a dangerous enemy, make no mistake. You take them out lightly. You take them lightly, and you'll wake up in the morning with a knife in your back. Bam! Out of nowhere.
How do you wake up in the morning if someone stabbed you in your sleep?
Women are terrible at stabbing things.
I thought you just said you don't take them lightly.
Well, I mean, don't take them lightly for the big things. Individually, they're not a threat, but if there was some kind of war, like a big war, with men on one side and the feminist forces on the other side, it would be pretty ugly. And that day will come when the feminists come out of their central top-secret worldwide feminist headquarters and say, "It's on now, motherfuckers."
You're being ridiculous. There's no big worldwide feminist headquarters building. Where would they even hide that? I mean, it'd have to be massive. You couldn't hide that on Earth. Someone would notice a big fortress with women only in it.
Who said it was on Earth?
I turn away from Kenji and start practicing frowning faces in a mirror so that I can figure out what kind of frown will best express my emotions. He can't see me from this distance anyway. Which, unfortunately, means that he just keeps on ranting without any regard to sense or sensibility.
Yeah, there is a war going on. War not many know about, but it's a great one that will one day boil over and encompass all of the known world. Then we'll have to pick sides. We'll have to make a stand. In fact, it's happening right now. Imagine it. The bloody battlefield. A vicious conflict without end. I almost gave up when I thought this cause was silly. When I grew tired of the bleakness of our fight. When I mistook the time the power went out for a feminist raid and thought the end was near. But then I realized if I gave up, it would all be over. And I was like, whoa. And I knew I had to get serious. Because I am the last sane man in an insane world. It's about duty.
Must be a pretty crappy movement if it all hinges on one naked guy ranting in a bathroom at another naked guy.
So can I have the money?
He's blocking the way out. It's getting cold because I'm still naked. I want to go to class, so I agree to spot him the money.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. We should go bowling later on.
Bowling?
Yeah, it's the ultimate sport. There are almost no women bowlers either, making it also the manliest sport. Should I wear my pink bowling shirt with matching shoes or the pastel green with flower accents?
There are bowling clothes?
Maybe.
Anyway, you had better pay me back.
I can pay you back in stuff, right?
I don't have the time to ask to elaborate on what that means. I don't know. I have to get to class. You're kind of in the way.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't want to hold you up and I have some stuff to do myself. The time has come.
Time for what?
I just like saying that. Okay, now the time has really come.
For what?
I have to use the bathroom. Get out of it.
I was just going to. What does that mean? It's a big bathroom.
So, I have to be alone or I can't go. Pressure.
Okay, what if someone else comes in?
I'll think of something.
I give my practice frown and it looks kind of silly reflected in his glasses. He either doesn't notice or doesn't see. Ah, shit. Anyway, so I get dressed and run back to my room, feeling as though an eternity has passed since I woke up. That is time I will never get back. I'll get him for this somehow. But right now I have to get to class. I'm the first person in class today, although I think I'm a little too early. Then again, sitting alone here for 20 minutes sure beats having to suffer that time with Kenji. The combination of fatigue, frustration, and boredom starts making me feel very tired. I black out for a second, waking up when my head hits the surface of my desk. Rubbing my forehead, I realize this is as good a reason as any to stay up for now and stop coming to class so early later. Wait, what? As any to stay up for now and stop coming to... whatever. Eventually I hear a tapping noise outside in the hallway, and Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. She's not in this class, so she must have some other business. Maybe she's looking for Hanako. Lily stops at the door, looking hesitant as if she was a vampire who can't come in unless invited. I consider doing so because she looks rather lonesome standing there. She steps in on her own accord, though, after straightening her skirt and shirt collar as if it was of importance to look prim when entering our classroom. Excuse me. She calls to the quiet classroom with a probing, delicate voice. I realize the silence might unnerve her because of her blindness, so I break it. Good morning, Lily. Hisao? Good morning. I didn't hear you come in. I wonder if she thinks it's suspicious I didn't say anything to her before. It's likely if I were to tell too big a lie now, it would sink me. Well, I was already here, just asleep until now. Oh, have you seen Hanako today by any chance? No, she seems to come in only just before the bell rings, or after that. Do you want to tell her something? Want me to tell her something for you? No, it's fine. It's strange, but I think we're the only two people in the school right now. I didn't hear anyone else on my way here. I shouldn't have gotten up so early today, I guess. You're chastising yourself for doing something that other people should. Punctuality is a good thing. I think so, anyway. It's a very busy morning today. The festival's coming up soon, and today's the deadline for event registration, budget reports, and any other official paperwork. It could be that everyone is trying to complete the necessary forms at the last minute. Maybe that's why it's so quiet today.
Hi!
Misha pops into the room with Shizune as if on cue, shouting with a loudness that makes Lily visibly flinch.
Hi, Hee-chan.
Hi.
Look, it's the class representative. Hello.
Lily smiles, probably amused by Misha's, or Shizune's, use of the word look. Good morning.
Of course, you're not the representative of this class, right? Right.
I'm not. Lily seems a little more guarded in her answers to Shizune than she was with me the other day. I guess they really don't get along at all. Then I realize that Lily might actually not know Shizune is present, and she's trying to detect whether or not she is, to know who she's talking to. For all she knows, she's talking to Misha, but knowing that she and Shizune are practically inseparable, she might expect Shizune being the one that actually talks. Damn, how complicated. Decided to help Lily out for my own peace of mind more than anything else. You're here early, Shizune.
You were here even earlier than us.
Misha puffs out her cheeks angrily. Why is she getting angry? Does she feel emotions on Shizune's behalf too? It's not that weird though, that Shizune didn't like my little comment. It's true, I was here earlier than them, so me saying something like that could definitely be misinterpreted as anything. Especially as Shizune doesn't have the benefit of hearing tone to gauge intent. Before I can start weighing whether or not I should apologize, Shizune has already moved on.
Class rep, It's a good thing you're here. We have to talk. The festival is coming up in 3 days, right? Every other class has handed in their projected budget reports for their events, even the first years. Except you. Ha 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 ha.
There's still time to hand it in, isn't there?
Today. The deadline is today. You're certainly taking your time, aren't you? If I had it my way, I'd have all the necessary paperwork days ago. But someone had to say the deadline. Please extend it.
Yes, that was me. Planning something on the scale is not a small task, and a week is too small a time frame to expect a whole class to work out such a complex issue completely.
Do you want to know what's harder than distributing the funds for one class's event? Handling the same matter for every class in the school and then some. The one who does that is me.
Misha puts her hands on her hips and stands up straight. Wow, she is really getting into the role. Lily doesn't look like she's very amused, though. Hey, Cheese Nate, aren't you being a little too hard on her? There's still a whole day left. Please, Esau, it's all right. Lily seems happy I'm taking her side, but a bit conflicted that I might not think she can take care of herself. If this is about the budget, then I'm disappointed you think I have forgotten about it. I understand how important it is.
Then, can I have it, please?
She's Nate, she might not have it on her at this exact second. It's not here right now. I asked 2 students to take care of it for me. Students from my class. She emphasizes that last sentence, much to my surprise. She knows about Shizne and Misha's efforts to rope me into the student council. I guess word must have gotten around, so now she's using me as ammo against Shizne. This just gets better and better.
It was your responsibility. A budget report isn't something you should just be delegating away as a class rep. It's your job to be on top of things. This kind of disregard for proper procedure is really just terrible.
They completed it, being capable of doing so, but the students have been sick recently, so they could not come to school and give it back to me. If you want, I will apologize on their behalf for getting sick.
Okay.
Although Misha misses Lily's little jab entirely, Shizne doesn't. She seems torn between being offended by Lily's daring and jumping for joy at the prospect of a challenge.
Lily, don't they live here at the school? That's a 5-minute walk, you know. What could they possibly have that prevents them from taking 5 minutes out of their busy lives to drop off something that will affect the enjoyment of their entire class?
Lily opens her mouth to say something, but Shizne closes the gap between them and starts signing furiously, waving her hands around like an orchestra conductor. Misha tries her best to convey the same passion, but can't seem to lose her normal cheerful tone. The result is interesting and somewhat surreal.
And what's that attitude? I said that's not something you should be delegating anyway. Are you the class representative or aren't you? Tell me the names of those 2 students. They should have your job if you can't even handle something this simple yourself.
One form isn't the full extent of what I'm supposed to take care of. Lily's tone is growing slightly impatient, but she's doing a good job of not letting Shizne see how unsettled she is becoming. She's playing her cards close to her chest. Shizne, on the other hand, wraps her fingers cheerfully along the edge of her glasses, knowing Lily can neither hear nor see how excited she is.
Of course, you do so much, class rep. It must be so difficult being you.
Lily tightens her lips at Misha's words, clearly understanding the intent behind them, even though Misha delivers them without even a hint of the sarcasm which they were meant to have. Shizne and Lily don't like each other, that much is clear. This seems a little much. Seems like Lily has had enough and is ready to push back. I fucking love that CG. I was actually just discussing the budget report before you came by. You must be very talented to have finished all your student council duties so quickly that you can track me down to make sure I don't forget my own.
Are you accusing me of slacking off? It seems like you're confusing me with yourself.
I don't think so. That'd be a very difficult thing for me to do, comparing myself to you.
You're right. The difference between us is like heaven and hell.
And it's not hard to guess which one you might represent. Get her ass. The air between them ripples with the heat of their enmity. Well, not really. They can't disguise it anymore, even though Misha looks like she's beginning to understand the real nature of the conversation. I love Misha.
Hey, John, don't you slack off either.
What are you talking about?
Aren't you taking part in the festival, John? You are, aren't you? Then I hope you're going to do a lot more to make sure it goes more smoothly than this in person.
I don't understand why Shizne is suddenly getting mad at me. I don't know. I don't remember I don't think to go down the route I want to go down. I don't think either of these choices matter. I don't think so anyway. But let's give ourselves a nice little save just in case. Just in case. I'm gonna say don't drag me into this. Why am I being dragged into this again? I've done more than enough, I think. If you're angry with Lily, that has nothing to do with me. No, wait just a second. Are you implying the president is more right in scolding me than yourself? Okay, no, that's not what I wanted to imply. Like I said, it has no bearing on what I actually want to do, but the last thing I want to do is side with Shizune. So yeah, cut me and Lily some slack. Hey, I'm the new guy, remember? It's not like I could have done much even if I wanted. That's right. You shouldn't expect a transfer student to jump right into it on his first week. Lily taking my side feels oddly comforting, so I decided to back her up too. Yeah, you're being unreasonable with us both.
Excuses, excuses. Miss Claptrap has had plenty of time to deal with her report. And we repeatedly offered you a position to help with the student council work, but you refused to commit yourself to making the festival a success.
Yeah, but as I said back then, I'm not sure if I don't have time for this right now. No matter what I do, it'll mean being drawn into a confrontation with Shizune, and that's what she wants. Whatever, forget it. I turn my back at them. I get back to my seat and shut my ears from the finale of the argument between Lily and Shizune. Eventually, Lily leaves our classroom, and Shizune and Misha seat themselves without talking to me. I can feel Shizune's eyes burning into my back. She's probably angry at me, but I'm just as angry with her. I don't get why she had to drag me into the argument. Anako doesn't come to the morning class at all, leaving her seat looking empty and lonely in the back of the classroom. I have to tell her that Lily was looking for her if I see her later. After the events of this morning, class is pretty boring in comparison. I turn the pages of my textbook lazily. I have a bit of catching up to do, despite trying to keep up with my studies at the hospital. I'm not feeling that enthusiastic about it. The clock at the front of the room sounds unbearably loud. The teacher hasn't said anything in over 7 minutes, instead opting to cover the board in rows and rows of equations taken directly from the book. The rhythmic clashing of chalk on blackboard seems to synchronize perfectly with the ticking of the clock. I start to copy down the equations just to pass the time, even though they are right there in the textbook. When the bell rings, I'm not in a hurry because I have nothing to do, so I stay for a while reviewing what we've covered in class today. I prefer to leave last anyway, so I don't have to deal with crowding in the hallways. I know that Shizune and Misha have also stayed behind, talking to someone from another class. Shizune is signing so fast that her hands make noises like swords cutting through the air. Maybe there's pent-up anger in there. Misha's trying desperately to keep up, but it's clear she can barely manage to even understand her. I put my head down. Whatever they're discussing looks like serious business. Shizune signs to the point where her wrists crackle, and Misha struggles to spit it out in word form. Sometimes she trips over herself like she's dealing with tongue twisters. Then on top of that, she has to sign back anything the other girl says. Seems like a rough job. Misha looks tired, like she's about to faint. Luckily for her, their business is soon finished and the girls sit down in their seats again.
I'm so tired.
She's hanging her head limply on her desk, looking exhausted. I'll use the opportunity to reconcile with Shizune a bit, without getting roped into the student council thing again. Though I suspect that door is now closed for me. Good. Festival preparations must be tough for you. Indeed, the people in the school seem to be taking the festival very seriously. Whenever I see people idling around before and after classes, they're always talking about their plans for it. It's kind of neat to see everyone being so enthusiastic about it. I'm probably the only one who doesn't have something to do. Shizune scoffs at me at first, as if trying to decide whether to ignore or sneer at me, but in the end she starts signing without doing either. Misha perks up, blinking at her hands with slightly unfocused eyes. She signs with harsh, heavy, dramatic strokes. Misha translates her signing into speech for me. She does it so well, it's almost like Shizune is actually speaking, transmitting her thoughts directly through Misha. She must have practiced it vigorously.
Well, of course, we're in the student council, you know, so we're pretty busy. It's an important duty of ours to ensure the success of the festival with our strength. We would shame ourselves in front of the past student council generations if the festival were to fail. That's why there must be no flaws. No, I think that was encumbrances? No, nothing that might make the festival short of perfect.
Shizune's passionate speech and Misha's enacting are really oddly fitting of them.
Oh, hello.
I look over my shoulder and see Hanako appearing timidly into the classroom, most of her body hidden behind the door.
Hey, playing delinquent again?
Hanako blushes hard at Misha's straightforward jab, even if it was only in jest. Shizune stares at her probingly, causing Hanako to look down and start backing away to the point where only her fingers can be seen wrapped nervously around the edge of the door. Maybe she's showing her dislike of Hanako by association of her dislike of Lily. It appears so, and Hanako probably knows it as well. What is it, Hanako?
Has Lily been here? Sorry, I haven't seen Sato. She came by in the morning though.
Hanako keeps looking uneasily at Shizune, who stares back at her with her usual studying gaze. What's she trying to do? Of course, Shizune isn't going to look away, and she is intimidating enough as it is, so I can only imagine how terrified Hanako would be. It is a little uncomfortable watching Hanako's reaction to Shizune's normal behavior. This is what happens when two people of two different extremes meet, it seems.
Do you know where she is? If she has any sense in her head, she's in her classroom working on their festival project. Who knows where that woman is loitering at?
Hanako nods quickly and retreats with haste.
What are we talking about? Oh yeah, we're really working hard to make the festival happen.
And driving other people insane along the way. Oh, good luck with that. Stand up to leave, making my exit before either of them manages to berate me anymore for slacking off. The halls are somewhat quiet as expected. Everyone must be in club meetings or at festival preparations, or both. Shizune's words about being a slacker echo in my head. I feel a bit guilty about not contributing, but I seem to lack the resolve to do something concrete about the matter. For the festival, it's too late already unless I count helping Shizune and Misha, which I naturally don't. And clubs, I don't know. Maybe I'm not a club type of person. Halfway through the way from Halfway through the way from the school building to the dorms, I spot a figure in front of the dorms. It's Rin. It looks like she's working on her mural today too. I'll walk over to her, but she doesn't seem to notice me approaching. She's sitting on an upturned box, looking intently on the wall she's painting with a brush held between her toes. The mural has progressed considerably since yesterday, but it's still only half done as far as I can tell. More colors have appeared, and the twisted human-like figures have spread and increased in number. I have to say, the style is quite eye-catching and very unique. Not that I would be knowledgeable about art by any measurable scale, but it's very nice looking nevertheless. I clear my throat to get her attention, but not startle her, so that the concentration won't break. Wait. She doesn't even turn to check who it is. I'll wait. 15 minutes later, I decide her concentration is indeed unbroken, and also that I've waited long enough to warrant poking her gently on the shoulder to remind her of my presence. Rin turns her head mechanically to my direction, ending up staring at my crotch level. Oh, it's Isao. She can tell? I'd feel a lot less comfortable if she would look at my face. An astute observation. Art at work, I see. The conversation starts as if I hadn't been there for a quarter of an hour already. It's not a concern, at least it starts. Looking good. It does. The layers of paint hiding other layers of paint, mixing and shaping the human figures, really create an impressive look. But Rin looks miffed. You shouldn't comment on works in progress. 7 years of bad luck. Sounds terrible. I guess I'll take it back then. Still, it looks good. I wonder if I get 14 years of bad luck for thinking that. Rin turns back to look at her painting and pokes it with a big toe. Did you mix some of this color? I'm running out of it. She looks down at a half-empty bowl with the remains of some pinkish paint in it. I really intend to stay and help her with this project, though. Guess I didn't intend to do anything much. I look at Rin. She looks emptily back at me. Just this once. Rin picks up another brush and drenches it in another tone of pale red. There are dozens of similar bowls all around her working area. From the looks of the scene, she could have been sitting there for hours. I wonder if she has... That would mean she'd been skipping school, though, which I, of course, wouldn't put beyond someone like Rin. I pour a little bit of white and red into the bowl, trying to match the color with the one already on the wall. I can't seem to get it right. It's really inconvenient for her to not mix enough in the first place. Getting it to be exactly the same tone will be impossible, but at least I can try to get as close as I can. Speaking of hard work, isn't that a huge workload for you too? Such a big painting and all. Oh, I'm not old and bitter enough to think like that. I guess you aren't. You guessed right. Legs hurt though. I feel like slugs. Slugs made of sea slugs. Because of the position? Yeah, I like doing it in a horizontal position more if you know what I'm talking about. But it can't be helped. Can't ask the wall to lay down. Saying that, she stretches herself a little, bending her legs back far more than a human should flex. It's astonishing how effortlessly she manages her body around. There's a small flinch in her otherwise blank expression, hint of pain maybe, as she stretches out her calves. Rin must have stamina and dexterity far above a normal person to be able to live like she does. She's wearing out working on this. Why push yourself so much? Take a break or something at least. To you tomorrow if it's that bad. This gives her pause. A long one, too, feeling like a mental yawn. I don't think so, Hisao. I'm not pushing myself. Sure looks like you are. No, it's not about pushing or pulling or anything related to that kind of thing. There is this boy. A boy? Yes. Where? At the art club. And? He's blind. Oh, how can you paint if you're blind? No idea. So why is he there? That's the point. He is there. She really should speak more than one word at a time to make this feel more like a discussion, less like an interrogation. You can't really do anything that you call art, right? But he comes there anyway. Paints. Why? I don't know. Why? I don't know. That's why I asked. So, he doesn't paint often, but I think his paintings are very interesting. I'm sure they are. I once tried that, painting with eyes closed. It wasn't too interesting. Cleaning up the floor took ages. Didn't try again. But he's becoming better at sculpting. I see. Maybe she was trying to make a point with this. Maybe she forgot she had one. Like the art club is full of interesting people. Not really. Very blunt statement. She totally missed the sarcasm. No? Just like I said, they're not very interesting. I usually don't have much interest in people who are not interesting. Maybe you have. Maybe. That boy is interesting. Maybe I'm like that boy. Or maybe you are. Maybe everyone is. Doing things you can't do just because you can. That's pretty deep, I think. You can tell that to her. You're a deep one. Nah, I'm a really shallow and thoughtless person. People say that to me all the time. Did you know I can only think of 4 things at the same time? No, but now I do. Right now I'm thinking of the second floor girl's toilet, ice cream flavored ice cream, middle toe, and a haircut. I'm going to need a haircut. I love that little motion. She shakes her head around vigorously, letting her short, messy hair ruffle wildly around. You can see that doing it is something she likes to do. We fall silent as Rin treads around absentmindedly, poking some brushes around. Thought about the art club sticks in my head for a while longer. Feeling like I'm treading on very unknown territory with art. The way these meetings with Rin go, it's as though I'm starting a smoking habit or something. I should probably stop talking with her. It's not like I dislike her, despite the confusion of her being herself causes. I don't dislike art either. I've even drawn for fun sometimes. I just don't have a real creative drive or any technical skill. So usually if I were to draw something, I get white paper syndrome and just freeze completely. That or manage to draw something disfigured and probably get frustrated at my inability to put the picture in my head on the paper, then call it quits without really trying to make an effort. Rin clearly doesn't have this problem, but she frustrates me in another way. Being with her is like looking into a mirror that doesn't reflect anything. It makes one question the sanity of the act. Rin sits down in her box, swaying from side to side, apparently uncomfortable with the uncomfortable silence. She's staring at me again, or maybe over my shoulder. Can't quite figure out where her eyes are focused. I'm thinking of leaving so she can carry on working undistracted, and that I can do whatever I'm going to do alone. It's not like I have anything that must be done today. No, shoot. Who? Nobody. I just forgot to tell Hanako that Lily was looking for her. Do you know her? From my class? No, her. Mystery toilet girl. That person is funny. Saw her going to the toilet 5 times during one recess 3 weeks ago. I'm sure it's the world record. It's very mysterious. That's why you call her the mystery toilet girl? What other reason could there possibly be? Well, if there is, it's an eternal mystery. I didn't follow her in there. Maybe it was the week before that. Could have been. Looking at her makes me hungry. Don't say that. At least not around her. Rin turns to look at me blankly as if she's not sure why I reproved her. But she doesn't acknowledge understanding any more than before, so I give up at this point. So do you want to go eat dinner then? No, not yet. Rin has turned her hungry gaze back to the wall, looking slightly more energetic, or at least slightly less lethargic than she did before. It's as if the wall is an opponent she has to vanquish, something she must overcome before she can indulge in dinner. This is the feeling I get. A weird sense of empathy overcomes me and makes me smile a little to myself. For all her oddity, Rin is pretty cool after all. I'll be going anyway. Have fun. Rin has already grasped a brush and is dipping it into fresh paint, so of course she can't hear me anymore, or doesn't answer anything even if she does. Adhering to the nurse's nagging voice in the back of my head, set my alarm clock to wake me up early enough to go jogging again. Made a promise and I'm going to keep it. Besides, Emmy's bound to rat on me if I don't show up. But it's not all that bad. Hell yeah. My morning alarm goes off, and I flail about uselessly for a while until I remember that I decided to give morning runs another shot. I don't know if this was my greatest idea, but I'm determined to keep it going. This is about my health, after all. Sure, things haven't been great lately for me. That hasn't made existence so intolerable that I'm not going to try everything I can to stay healthy. Besides, it's all about asserting some kind of control over this thing, right? If I can manage that, well, I can manage anything. At least, that's what I keep telling myself. Once again, it would appear that I'm not alone in my run. Emmy has apparently been here for some time. Looks like she's already worked up a good sweat. Just when the hell does she come down here anyway?
Oh, it's you. I'm surprised to see you again.
Why's that?
Well, not many people actually manage to come back for a second try.
She frowns, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought.
Like the rest of the track team, for instance. Still, I was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. I guess it's pretty early in the morning.
A shrug, and suddenly it appears that she's forgotten what she was talking about. Frown disappears entirely, and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought.
So, come on then.
What?
You're here to run again, right?
Well, yes.
So come on.
I find myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling, while Emmy moves with an effortlessness that I find enviable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. I know I should be patient, work toward things gradually, but it's difficult to stay positive about this. We round the track and start on our second lap. Emmy seems to have grown impatient keeping pace with me and begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do more? Oh, I forget what the right answer is here. I'm gonna save just in case. We're gonna save just in case. Go for it. What am I doing here? Are we just going to fold and let Emmy pull ahead? I speed up. Second lap's done quickly, and without even considering it, I keep going. Emmy looks back over her shoulder at me and grins.
Still going?
Why don't you? Just think I'm out of shape. Emmy laughs, without breaking her stride, no less, and speeds up even more. Oh, this is the way we're gonna play things. I increase my own pace as well. I feel my lungs burning, and my legs are starting to question just what the hell I think I'm doing. Lactic acid screams in my muscles, but I close my ears. Can't let myself fall behind, because that would be a loss. The rational voice in my head inquires mildly just when we started playing a game. I'd answer it, but I'm having a lot of trouble thinking at present. She's so fast. How the hell does she keep it? It's like a string pulling on my chest. A choking feeling of narrowness and pain. Before I can think of anything else, then, oh shit, the track disappears from under my feet. I stumble, one hand shooting down to clutch my chest, the other hitting the track to keep me from falling on my face. Emmy whirls around and her eyes widen.
Hisao?
She yells at me, sprinting from the other side of the track.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Just keep your breathing steady. Calm down. Don't panic. Don't panic.
Do you need me to get the nurse?
I close my eyes, shutting out the outside world. My heart struggles to regain its rhythm. Slowly, the pain in my chest begins to subside. Soon it's gone like nothing happened. It was nothing? No, something happened there. I open my eyes again and glance at a very worried Emmy. I think I'm fine. My voice sounds weird even to myself. Oddly, even, and matter of fact, makes Emmy frown.
I don't think you are.
She seems to come to a decision, nods to herself.
Right, you're coming with me. You've got to see the nurse.
Emmy grabs my arm and drags me up. I feel a bit wobbly, but I refuse the shoulder Emmy offers for support. Honestly, I'm a little ashamed by my own weakness. I'd really rather not have Emmy concerned about me, but it seems to be too late. Heck, I'd really rather not have anyone concerned about my condition, though at this point it seems to be too late for that as well. I'd like to be able to deal with the whole thing on my own without being a bother to anyone else. While I'm wishing for things, I'd rather not have this condition in the first place.
Nurse!
Emmy crashes into his office without knocking, but it doesn't alarm the nurse in the least. Good morning, Sunshine. What's up? Sunshine? Anyway, he calmly sips his coffee mug, but lays it down after following Emmy's gaze to me looming in the doorway. Isao, brings you here.
We were running and he stumbled over and started grabbing at his chest. And I thought I'd come get you and make him wait there, but he said he... He said it was okay, but then I thought you should see him anyway and...
Easy there, Emmy. Calm down. Isao, what happened? I don't know. We were running and then my chest started hurting like that time before, but it went away after a few seconds. It was just a flutter or something. The nurse frowns as if to say that just a flutter is some kind of oxymoron. I didn't mean quite this when I suggest to get some exercise. You gotta be more careful, Isao. I was being careful, I just... Come to think of it, I just got into a race with a member of the track team. Doesn't seem as well reasoned as I thought it would. You just what? That is... I was racing Emmy. Emmy? Is this true? Emmy fidgets, looking adorably contrite.
Well...
Finally, she can't seem to bring herself to say it aloud and merely nods. The nurse sighs and rubs at his forehead with one hand tiredly. Emmy, you've got to be more sensitive to the limits of others. I don't know if he told you, but Isao has a bad heart. Getting him to race you was incredibly irresponsible. Actually, I started it. The nurse is stunned by my statement. You what? We were just running, and Emmy started to pull away, and so I sped up to catch her. The nurse stares at the ceiling, mutters a prayer for patience to some god or another, and looks back down at the both of us. So you're both stupid. That's a comfort, I guess. Now come on, Isao. I've got to make sure your heart's not going to explode or something. I dutifully obey him and follow him to the adjacent room where we ascertain that I am, in fact, not going to keel over and die. So how does it feel? I don't know. Nothing much. Tired, but it might just be from the exercise. You should stay here for a few hours and rest. We'll see how you feel after that. I'm not going to object, so I lie down in the infirmary bed. A thoroughly miserable Emmy comes in after getting an earful from the nurse in the other room. Couldn't hear what he said through the closed door, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't pleasantries.
Look, I'm really, really sorry. I should have been more careful.
Hey, you didn't know. It's not your fault. She looks awfully down and sorry, and my reassurances don't do anything much to cheer her up.
I want to make it up to you.
Again with that decisive nod.
So you have to come to lunch with me. I'll bring it for you, okay? Something really, really good.
I start with a you don't have to, but then shut up and just nod at her when I see her face.
Good. We meet on the roof.
We?
Yep, the weather's nice now, so the roof's a great spot for lunch, you know.
I see.
You'll come, right? You wouldn't deny me the chance to make it up to you.
Of course not.
Great. See you there.
I stay afloat somewhere between asleep and awake, feeling completely drained. Not only my body, but all of me is limp and paralyzed apart from my senses. I swallow with difficulty and then try to lie still as I can, which, in this state, is not a very hard thing to do. The nurse is shuffling around on the other side of the curtains he drew to give me privacy. I can see a shadow shifting about in the sunlight. He's opened the window of his office. It's windy outside. Clean white curtains flutter in the breeze in a heavy, lazy motion, like waves. Light sifts through them slowly, half absorbing into the fabric. I close my eyes. The breeze on my face feels like the soft fabric of the curtains. I listen to the sound of my heartbeat for a moment, trying to shut out the sound of the nurse tapping away on his computer, and my own heavy breathing. It's steady. Damn it. Not even a week and I end up like this again. I really screwed up this time. Should have known better than to play the half-baked sports star in front of a real one. Why did I try to act brave like that? Like that heart flutter was no big deal, even when it was obvious that it was. It was just a reflex, to push it away, to keep it inside. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want Emmy to see it. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I have to be more careful. I'll end up in the hospital again. Or worse. It's my final thought before I give in to the tiredness. Yeah, no, I think that was the one choice. I remember, I think the first time I tried to go down this route, because I mentioned it before in the first recording, that when I first tried to go down this route, I fucked it up. And I think it was that choice, because I think if you choose to take it easy, he'll stop at the same point. He'll stop at the same point on the track, and he'll be discouraged by that. He'll be like, man, I just made it to the same spot. I didn't make any improvement. And then, like, he'll stop going to the track is the thing. So like with this, yes, he overexerts himself. He has this incident, right? But then it leads to, you know, Emmy asking him out to lunch and whatnot, and then things continue from there. Whereas if you take it easy, the next morning his alarm will go off to get him to like, oh, time to go to the track, but then he'll be like, you know what, I don't really want to, and then he won't, and then you pretty much lose all your opportunities to interact with Emmy. Because I do remember that point when those choices first popped up, when I first played through this, fucking 7 years ago. I remember that first choice popped up, like, logically my brain was like, well, he has a heart problem. You don't want to push that. I know personally, from my own experience, you don't want to push that. But, you know, sometimes you gotta hurt yourself for romance, I guess. I fell asleep. For how long? What time is it? I'm feeling a little lightheaded and I keep blinking impulsively. Pushing the curtain aside, I squint my eyes against the unfiltered light pouring in from the window. The texture of the canvas feels nothing like the wind did before. Nurse looks up from his work, sitting exactly where he was before. How are you feeling? Can't really tell, so I don't answer anything. Feeling kind of groggy from falling asleep at such a weird time. Hopefully I don't look too weird. What time is it? Me croaking the question to gain some orientation, the nurse looking at his wristwatch before answering. Things seemed to happen in slow motion. 10:15. Try to think for a moment what that means, but I'm not really sure. You didn't answer my question, Isao. Oh, fine. I'm down from that bed then. Let's see how you're doing. Don't. I tried to do exactly that, only to sway dizzily when I moved too fast. The nurse moves to support me by an arm and sighs. Stand up too quickly is what I was going to say. Just sit there, I'll check your pressure to make sure. My good intention sure lasted for a long time. I shut up, embarrassed with myself, while the nurse gets busy with an old-fashioned contraption on my arm. After a couple of minutes, he puts it away looking neither pleased nor unhappy. You're alright? Head stop spinning? Yeah. Good. And how are the contents doing? You didn't show very good judgment out there, Isao. I saw the retort I was going to make, what I was thinking myself, but hearing it stated by somebody else makes me want to protest. What he's saying is not pleasant to hear. Doesn't make him any less right. No, sir. He nods, still looking as neutral as he was before. It'd be easy to be angry at him if he said, told you so, or something, but he doesn't. You're trying to help to keep your health, but ultimately the last call lies with you. Hopefully this little episode will be something that'll remind you of that. Here, a note for your teacher, to avoid an interrogation. I take the slip of paper he's offering, then make my leave as I can't think of anything else to say, nor even really want to. Stay out of trouble, you hear me? I don't think it was anything but a scare, but next time could be different. I hear you. There is some way to get to the school building straight from the auxiliary building, but I'm not keen to find out and possibly get lost, so I go out from the exit that I know works. I stop at the stairs of the auxiliary building, deliberating for a moment between going to the dorms to get my books and stuff, and going straight away to the class. The sun stings my eyes, so I head towards the dorms. The halls are quiet as the courtyard was, naturally so, since everyone is in class. I knock lightly at the door of 3-3 and push open the door when Muto calls from the other side. Sorry I'm late. 15 pairs of eyes turn to me. Morning, Nakai. Muto seems to be somewhat confounded by my coming in late, as if I interrupted his flow or something. Judging from the rambling lectures his class tend to be, that might be the case. Pass him the note the nurse gave me. Muto takes a look at it, takes it with a nod, and reads it quickly. He lifts his eyebrows and gives me a kind of stern look, but doesn't say anything, just nods solemnly again. I shrug and he gestures at me to run along, so I naturally do. Class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I've even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days, I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So as you know, the festival's on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds.
Games and fried food!
Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. What I meant was the remainder of his sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. Muto deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down for the cafeteria. Normally I join the flow and grab a lunch myself, but today is different. Today I've been invited to lunch on the roof. An odd location, but that's where I was told to go. Fortunately, I managed to find shelter from the storm in the lee of the classroom door. Eventually, the torrent subsides, and I step tentatively out into the hallway, only to be met by Emmy, who comes flouncing down the hallway like a cannonball.
Hey, hi Hisao. Great timing. I have super extra lunch today, as promised. Let's go upstairs.
The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door, complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed the lock. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Emmy flinches back, almost falling back down the stairs.
Yipes, you scared me, Rin.
Wait, isn't she... Hello. Noticing that Rin is speaking to me, Emmy looks curiously at me.
You two know each other?
I look confusedly at Emmy. She's that friend of yours? Rin has turned her gaze toward the clouds drifting above the school. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. The awkward silence lasts only for a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off.
I invited Hisao for lunch. If you know him, that's just better.
Oh, does this mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch?
Neither. I have food for 3.
Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in other schools. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered across the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. Small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere, a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The too hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run and catch a bus like their life depended on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only one short year. Finding out about my illness, having to move away from home, all came so suddenly, and I haven't had time to think about how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Rin in tow and produces one bag and 2 small lunch boxes from her bag.
Come on, Hisao. What are you waiting for?
She's begging me to join them, making room on the already small bench. I seat myself on the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all 3 of us fit on it. Impressive view. Emmy suppresses a giggle and places the lunchbox in front of Rin, hands another lunchbox to me.
Here you go. Lunch is promised.
Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good.
Thanks. I make it myself when I can.
Conversation dies off as I set about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place I'm in right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as if I had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding.
My morning run always works up an appetite. Which is great, because then I burn through my lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure.
What would happen if you lose it? Would you become a man? I very nearly choke on my lunch trying not to laugh.
It's a figure of speech.
Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? You always talk like this?
Talk like what?
I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggle to think of small talk, selling the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Rin seems content to let Emmy answer this question.
Someone in the housing department thought that we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another.
Compliment each other? Like shoes in a suit. Huh? Emmy giggles in my confusion.
Put us together and we've got all our limbs, get it?
Ah.
So I started helping Rin get ready in the mornings, and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along.
I see. Rin chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of? This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you've got no arms. So putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what, I'm just gonna stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise.
That was good.
As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty.
Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry.
With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink color scheme, and keeps an equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is. This time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Emmy or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure.
So Hisao, how do you like it up here?
It's quite nice, actually. I like high places, for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. Emmy grins a 1,000-watt grin, pleased by my response, I suppose.
No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time too, okay? I won't make you lunch, but you can bring your own up here.
No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks mock offended.
Try and take advantage of my good nature. The nerve.
She giggles.
Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I will just keep eating lunch all alone.
I'm suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts. Kidding, I was kidding. I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location, and the company's okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Hell yeah. Or at least acquaintances. Lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs.
Rin, you didn't finish your lunch again.
I wasn't that hungry.
If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away.
Rin shrugs as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. Hell yeah. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan of something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of the books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I borrowed into the return slot in the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging they make as they hit the trolley next to her. Sorry, Yuko. I didn't mean to startle you.
No, that's fine. It happens a lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you?
It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyway. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. I wander down to the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look over to the corner where Hanako had been the last time I was here, not really expecting anything to come of it. Surprisingly, though, she's there, absorbed completely in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her like last time and get back to finding reading material. After an indiscernible amount of time spent perusing the aisles, I finally decided on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With the minimum of fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and dorms. Feeling utterly drained, I head to my room and read the books I borrowed. It's been enough action and excitement for one day already. The first is Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. I know the story, of course, but I've never actually read the original book. It's just as trippy as I remember the story to be, with the wacky characters and nonsense plot. I started thinking of myself as some kind of Alice too, helplessly tumbling down the rabbit hole into this cripple wonderland. God damn. This cripple wonderland. Okay, that's a rather strong expression. Still, the isolated location and the overt way the school accommodates to absolutely everything is unsettling. It's like it's another world. I wonder why I can't shake the feeling of being an outsider like Alice, despite most everyone being so hospitable and friendly with me. Turning another page, my mind starts drifting further away from the book. It's quiet. I can hear my heartbeat thumping against the fabric of my shirt. For some reason, it makes me feel really bad, like it has since the time in the forest with Iwanako. Like I was locked in a cage with something nasty and scary. I put the book down for a while and stare at the ceiling, taking my time to shake off the feeling. 200 pages later, I fall asleep. The students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people who have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until the lunch break, and then our time is our own. Muto lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Owing to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That can partly be attributed to the 2 empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she's making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Okay, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I didn't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure. What's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what's going on, I wait silently. I heard from the school's head nurse that you had an incident the other day. Ah, so it's about that. Well, kind of, but it's not anything to be worried about. Yes it is. Anything that can endanger your health is something to be worried about. We try our best here to prepare you for life here. Part of that involves knowing your limits and how to work around them. It'd be remiss of me if I didn't speak up about this. Alright, I get it. I'm sorry. Muto closes his eyes in frustration and realized that this probably wasn't the best thing to say. Something tells me that you're not sorry. Pretend as much as you want, but this isn't a normal school. A lot of people have put in a lot of time, effort, and money to make sure that you and every other student here can have the same level of education as your peers. For you to abuse that by throwing out advice, especially medical advice, is plain selfish. Not quite sure if this is actually how he feels, or if it's some act that he's practiced many times to guilt-trip students into doing the right thing. Either way, it's working. I understand. This is all new to me, and I apologize. I know my limits now, and I'll be sticking to them. Muto appears to lighten up a little, satisfied that his message has been received. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there's still students out there who realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, gotta keep up with those things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson. But any of them could be the next key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think, in hindsight, that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto pauses for a moment. I don't think any of the students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they're working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desks as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Muto doesn't even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Muto and I left before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly takes the remaining class time away until finally the bell cries out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. Class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind to try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend with the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako's the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, naturally I don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that, or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels like longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil had splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sounds of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they're breaking the mood of the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway.
Hanako?
Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. I talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I started reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Hanako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there's nothing else to do in the classroom. Not that I have anything to do anywhere else either. School is a beehive of activity, but nobody pays me any heed. I saunter past classrooms filled with students frantically doing this and that, buzzing around like little worker bees. I would guess the school day is over. It's a bit quieter outside, but not by much. People zip by left and right, hurrying as quickly as they can, busy and energetic. I feel the opposite. The midday sun seems to be draining all the spirit out of my body, making it feel limp all over. Warm, soft air flows inside my shirt, feeling like a cushion. I yawn lazily, thinking about what I do. I drop off my books at the dorms first, and then something I haven't decided yet. Maybe Kenji's in his room. On the way to dorms, I spot Emmy coming my way, running despite not having those weird running prosthetics on. I wave at her, and she skids to a stop.
Yo, Hisao!
Spatters of white and green paint adorn her nose and chin respectively, but her smile is as wide as it seems that it always is. She leans close to me, amplifying the feeling she's examining me.
What you doing?
Nothing really. I don't have anything to do for the festival, and everyone else seems to be doing something important.
That's perfect, and you can help me and Rin.
With the festival preparations? I'm not sure I would be of much help.
That's fine. I'm not much help either.
Emmy grabs my wrist and starts dragging me back inside the school quite forcefully. Even her walking speed is more like jogging, making me stumble over myself simply trying to keep up. The stairs slow Emmy down a little bit. Maybe start to climb with her legs, or maybe she's finally run out of breath. We go all the way back to the third floor, to the seniors' hallway, ending up where I left 5 minutes ago. I could just as well have stayed here waiting for Emmy had I known. So is Rin working on that mural still?
That's right. She needs all kinds of paints and brushes and stuff, so I went to get them from the art classroom.
And you need me to help with that?
Well, Rin told me you'd already helped her, so I thought you wouldn't mind.
I see. So thanks to Emmy's flaky logic, here I am again, collecting stuff from the art classroom for other people. The room is empty, apart from ourselves, and the lonely specks of dust floating in the air. Emmy skips straight away to the back wall, digging out a tiny crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. While she tries to make sense of her scrawled handwriting, I take a closer look at the materials lying around here. Dozens of paint cans and bottles are arranged on the shelves in a most unorganized fashion. Some look like they have been left there for several decades, relics of previous art club generations. Next to the heavy stacks of neatly piled drawing paper are boxes full of different sized brushes and unsorted crayons. The smells of paint, turpentine, and fresh paper float in the stale air, mixing in my nostrils to form that unmistakable scent of art. Emmy studies her notes, comparing them to markings on the various paint cans, and passes them to me as she finds the correct matches. She stretches her neck to look on the topmost shelf, but it's not quite enough. Her eye level stays below the shelf no matter what she does. Amy gives up and just looks up to the shelf longingly, like a child at a toy store, huffing in annoyance. After a moment of building anger, she starts jumping up and down, barely trying to speed read the labels during the fraction of a second she can see them and catch what she can. So surprised that she fails miserably and almost manages to bring the entire shelf crashing down. Now I see why me lending a hand here would be useful. Come on, let me do that. You can't jump high enough and I don't want you to hurt yourself trying. Also, I'm like twice your height.
You're not.
She turns around, flaring scorn, flushed cheeks and all. Just kidding, just kidding. Anyway, I'll look up there, okay? She glares at me one more time, but can't come up with a retort. With a grudging humph, turns her back to me. So I begin scrounging around the top shelf for paint, while below, Emmy crouches to scavenge what she can from the cupboards. I shake my head a little, after double-checking to ensure she can't see me do so. Emmy having a complex about her height was a surprise. I wouldn't have joked about it otherwise. She seems easygoing, but I guess everyone has their weak spots. Only after we have almost all the items collected and spread on a desk like a treasure hunter's spoils do I realize it wasn't necessarily the height jab that got her riled up. She might not like to be told she can't do something, like jump. But Emmy herself seems to have forgotten all about it all entirely. Quick to anger, quick to forgive. She's that type of person? At least she doesn't seem to have taken anything to heart, as she chatters away happily while we pick up the rest of the items and make our way back to Rin. I chivalrously carry the bulk of the materials as we make our way towards the dormitories.
Rin is really stressed about getting your painting done. It's her own fault though, she should have started earlier.
Is she going to make it?
No idea. Looks good to me, but with Rin, you never know what's going on. I found her this morning lying in front of the dorm in fetal position. She hadn't slept all night. Can't believe that night nurses hadn't found her. Now she's painting again like crazy.
Yeah, I've noticed she comes off as kinda unhinged, so to speak. Emmy giggles at that, as well as at my likely too obvious awkwardness.
I don't mind it. She's just a little weird sometimes.
On that, I can agree with her. Unlike me, Emmy seems to be cool with Rin's whatever it is that feels so off about her. Still, they don't feel close like Misha and Shizune do. With them working as a single entity sometimes, it's hard to say where one ends and the other begins. Even though they're so different, just like Emmy and Rin are. And Rin is the most different of them all, different from anyone else I've met. Yeah, I guess she's a very unique person. I turn to that word again, as if it encompasses Rin's personality by itself. But really, it's just a substitute for a lengthy description of her oddities. Emmy giggles as I grasp for a properly descriptive word.
She's just weird. You know, earlier she just spent half an hour sitting on her blocks and stared at her toes.
She giggles again in a way that makes me think she doesn't know what's funny about it. It just is.
All that time.
The working area is a mess, but the mural itself has taken over more of the walls since I first saw it. The disfigured human figures have been mostly colored in tones of red, pink, and orange. Weird, imaginary things populating the spaces between. It looks nice. I can't think of any word that would describe the work concisely and comprehensively, so I settle myself on a nondescript nice. But honestly, it seems that the area around the wall becomes untidier at the same rate as the mural progresses. The ground is littered with dozens of paint cans, various art supplies, and empty soda bottles. Rin herself is in the center of this chaos, standing there looking very cozy as if she was a natural part of the scene. Her pant legs have been rolled up to her knees, exposing her thin legs, which sport a drying spectrum of war paintings, similar to those on Emmy's face. Emmy sprints to Rin ahead of me and gleefully jumps in front of her.
I'm back.
That was fast. Did you run in the corridors again?
He's out, help me.
Emmy points victoriously at me. Rin turns around, following Emmy's finger with her eyes, looking at my general direction. She nods absent-mindedly at me. She looks like she hasn't slept since last night, a vacant, glazed stare that's focused slightly off me and movements like in a slow-motion movie. Hello, Isao. Thank you for the help. Don't mention it. I just did. Never mind. Looks like you've made progress. Looking good as far as I can tell. But now you get more bad luck. I know, but I'm willing to take the risk. That's a very nice thing to say. For me, of course, not for you. This is why artists are always unlucky. They have to constantly look at their unfinished paintings. So artists can't find romance, their favorite TV shows are canceled, or they die young because of an unspecified disease. It's a deep and mysterious law of the universe. Unless they're blind. She considers this for a while, looking like she's going to fall asleep. There's a boy. At the art club, you see. Blind boy, so he doesn't see. You already told me. I glance sideways at Emmy, and she glances back in a way that tells she has heard this one before, too. Neither of us says anything to Rin, though, so she continues her monotone soliloquy like an unfunny stand-up comedian. You should become an artist. No bad luck, guaranteed. Don't you think that would be a good idea? That only blind people should become artists? No, not as such. You might have a point. Abandoning this train of thought, she turns to consider her work and starts humming a tune that I think I recognize but can't remember the name of. Emmy arranges the supplies we brought and moves a few paint cans around, trying to bring some organization to the scene. Emmy, I need the Prussian blue paint.
Which one's Prussian blue?
She's staring helplessly at 7 or 8 cans, each with a different tone of blue. It's the one with Prussian blue paint in it. I fucking love Rin.
Jeez, Rin, you're not helping at all.
I look around as well, even though I don't know what Prussian blue looks like either. I wonder what blue has to do with Prussia. Or what Prussia even is. The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't place it. While none of the blues look more Prussian than the others, the small print on the labels is legible enough to determine that none say anything about the contents being Prussian. There's no Prussian blue here.
You need to go get more then.
I open my mouth to say that actually we're not both needed for such a simple task, like finding another pot of Prussian blue, but Emmy's already grabbed my arm and started dragging me off. I wave to Rin, who doesn't seem to have noticed the two of us are even leaving. Well, she'll notice when she goes for Prussian blue and finds out it's still not there. Maybe. Probably not, actually. Well, I'm busy thinking of how weird Rin is. Goddamn, I pressed the button. Emmy's been dragging me back to the art room. I feel myself starting to run out of breath. What's the rush?
Huh?
Emmy's giving me an appraising look as if she's trying to figure something out. Just that you seem to be in a hurry. I'm not sure I can keep up. Comprehension dawns on her face.
You're not out of breath, are you?
There's almost an accusing playfulness to her tone. I'm tempted to deny it, but then I realize I've been breathing heavy since we stopped. Guess it's kinda obvious. A little. Everybody can be in shape, you know. Takes all kinds, right? Emmy frowns. It's not a particularly good frown. That is, I should get in shape? Not that I hadn't already decided to try for that. After that flutter on the track, I figured there's a real need to get in some sort of running habit. I was, after all, feeling pretty good until I had my false alarm. Well, actually I wasn't, but it was fun? Meanwhile, my comment seems to have helped Emmy come to some sort of decision.
Well, that's it then.
She gives me a serious look.
You're joining me.
I beg your pardon?
In the mornings. You and I are now running partners. I've got a routine all planned out. In fact,
She produces a crumpled sheet of paper.
I've got it right here with me.
Take the sheet of paper and give it a once-over. Times, dates, and laps all laid out. A slow increase from just a few laps a day to... My god, does she expect to have me running marathons? Where did she find the time to get this all together? How long has she been planning this anyway? You've been planning this?
A little. But it's really the nurse's idea. He told me to keep an eye on you to make sure you exercise like he told you to.
A vast conspiracy. Maybe Kenji's onto something here. Seems a bit much for just keeping an eye on me.
Well, to be honest, I've been trying to find a running partner in the mornings for a while now.
My god, Kenji. You can only see the scheme unfolding. What do you need a partner for anyway?
It's easier to keep up a workout if you're not the only one doing it. Isn't that obvious? You're less likely to quit something if someone else is counting on you to be there, right?
I see. This won't only keep you running, but it'll make sure that I keep running as well. Meaning that I'll be obeying the nurse.
And I'll be keeping an eye on you just like he asked. You caught on quick, Hisao.
And if I refuse? I have no intention of refusing, of course. But I've got to at least put up a token resistance to such a masterfully executed plan.
Well, if he refused, I'd have to pout. And you'd have to live with being the guy who made Emi Ibarazaki pout. You don't want that on your conscience, do you?
As if to demonstrate, Emmy begins pouting. It is the most adorable, heart-wrenching thing I've ever seen. Okay, I'll do it. Just don't do that. I feel like I just hit a puppy.
So it's settled, right? You're going to be my running partner? Follow the workout? And the dietary plan?
Dietary plan?
Yeah, the dietary plan. You gotta eat healthy if you're going to get in shape, you know?
I examine the workout routine closely. I don't see a dietary plan on here.
Oh, right, I forgot to give that to you.
Another crumpled sheet of paper is produced and handed over. It's somewhat less detailed.
I had the nurse help me come up with it.
The amount of dedication that the nurse has to keeping me in good health is pretty overwhelming. I don't know many school nurses who would get one of their students to spy on me, much less help them come up with a dietary plan. Then again, I guess I'm not in a normal school. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. Then again, this dietary plan seems to cut out just about everything that'll be offered at the festival tomorrow. So when does our running start?
After the festival.
Right after? I've had something to eat there. I get a stomachache, you know.
I meant the day after the festival.
I knew that. Wasn't there something we were supposed to be doing? Oh, I guess we should get that paint for Rin, huh?
Oh no, it slipped my mind.
By the time we get the paint back to the mural, Rin's already wandered off. Oh well. Emmy and I both decided to part ways there, leaving the paint on the ground. Rin will find it, whenever she comes back anyway. Festival's tomorrow. I'm actually a little excited for it. At the same time, the week's left me feeling pretty tired, so I read a little and then go to bed. Next day, I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Sleeping late is fine, since it's a Sunday and there are no classes. Not just a Sunday, though, but the festival as well. From my window, I can already see some people at the soba booth slinging noodles onto plates for people with a craving for low-quality food. Throw back a handful of my morning meds and ponder how to spend the day. There'll be a few exams in the coming week, but I don't consider those as ominous as others, so I'm not as worried about them as I probably should be. With no urgent obligations regarding education, I should be free to spend the day at the festival as I like. Finishing my morning routine, I exit into the hallway, intending to go out and find something to eat. Passing by his door, I decide to see what Kenji's up to today out of impulse. Curious if he has any plans, since everyone is doing something. Then again, I can picture him having built a soundproof shelter in his room. Or possibly something like a fort complete with no girls allowed sign. And with the girls crossed out and body crudely scrawled underneath. Knocking on his door, which is luckily devoid of any kind of sign, I hear again the unsettling clicking of at least 10 locks being pulled back. The door opens up a crack.
Who is it?
You're supposed to ask that before you open the door.
Oh, it's you. Damn, it's early.
It's not really that early.
What is it, man?
Nothing. Just gonna ask what you're gonna do today. Half the school's out there already.
Out where? Why?
What?
What? Is today special? Shit, where's the button? Why are they there? Who are? I can hear them. It's loud. Don't tell me. Has the invasion begun?
He suddenly looks more alarmed.
What day is it, man?
Yeah, I guess you can't see the big wooden booths outside and people selling stuff.
What the hell are you talking about? I have my curtains closed at all times to thwart the snipers.
It's the festival. You know that, right?
Oh shit, that's today? Ah, damn. Ah, damn. Damn it. Can't believe I forgot. I don't have my fort finished yet. This is bad. This is going to be a very bad day. Good you told me this, man. This is going to be a bad day.
Why?
Oh man, they're going to be everywhere. The people, outside my window, socializing.
Kenji rubs his temple nervously, suddenly looking very ill.
It's going to be loud as hell. Damn, I was hoping to go out today. Now it's ruined. Everything's ruined. This is awful. This sucks. This sucks. What the hell? This really sucks. I can't go anywhere now. There's nowhere to run.
Kenji seems nervous. You can even say he's majorly freaking out.
I can't believe this. So that's what today was. Damn, I couldn't even prepare for it. I couldn't even brace myself. Now it's here, and I can't do anything. You should have told me this earlier, dude. I mean, at least I know, but I could have known earlier. Imagine what I could have accomplished.
Sorry, I thought you knew. So I guess you're not going to do anything today? Weather's even good. Yesterday was really windy, so I thought today would be cold. It's not, though. There's no reason to just stay inside. Yeah, just check the festival out. Kenji groans and covers his face with his hands.
No. I can't do it. They'll leave me alive out there. I know it.
That has to be a joke, but he said it with such a straight face. Relatively straight.
What are you going to do? We should hang out in here. You can help me build my fort. Might still make it if we work together.
I wonder. I'm kind of hungry, but I made this deal that if I try to take better care of myself, be healthier, you know. Don't know if I should steer clear of the takoyaki or head straight in.
Deal? Sounds ominous. God damn it. So what are you getting in return?
Nothing, I guess? It's not that kind of deal. You know, Emmy, from our year, we kind of agreed to watch each other's backs and...
Ah!
The shrill scream of the expression of abject terror in Kenji's face chilled my blood. It's as if I told a Catholic priest I sold my soul to the devil.
Her? You sold your soul to the devil and didn't get anything in return? What the hell is wrong with you, man? Do you know who you're dealing with? She's a public health danger. Do you know how many people she sends to the hospital monthly with her carefully placed flying tackles? She's one of them, a key player in the vast conspiracy that aims for the complete submission of everything that is manly. Can't believe what I'm hearing. I trust in your judgment, man. I thought we were brothers. You have to call it off before it's too late. This festival, too. It's just one of their ploys.
He fingers his scarf nervously, faster and faster, like he's starting to start a fire, and slowly begins to calm down once the panic attack finishes running its course.
I'm going to have to find someplace to hide in a safe haven, and knock the lights out of myself so I don't have to experience this horrible day. That's the perfect thing for that. I must prepare now. Don't go to the festival.
Okay.
Later, dude.
The door slowly closes with a low creak, and I don't know how to feel about what Kenji just said. Kind of unsettling, and now I start to feel doubtful myself. Should I bother going? I've got a book I've been meaning to read. Something about an underground postal system that may or may not exist. It's short too. Could have it finished in a day. But would that be a good way to spend my time? Well, yeah, it definitely would be. But I suppose that would probably be a better idea to head outside. See the festival. Try to integrate with all the other sideshow acts. Honestly, I should at least make an attempt to keep up somewhat friendly personality I've had the past week. Maybe get something to eat, my stomach suggests. It's almost lunchtime. Could at least grab something from one of the stalls outside. I'm soon outside, surrounded by various students and people who may or may not be their parents. Every so often I catch a glimpse of someone who clearly just came up from town for the promise of the festival. They're easy to spot. The ones who can't stop staring, behind their eyes you can tell they're thinking, now what's wrong with this one? I almost want to yell at them. At the same time, can I deny that I've been doing the same thing all week? A wave of something like disgust sweeps over me, guilt for my own narrow-mindedness. I push the thoughts aside, concentrating on the pangs of hunger that burn my guts like a wildfire. The scent of something fried leads me to the promised land where I can get some lunch. I'm just getting my order when a loud voice interrupts me.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
Having lunch?
Breakfast? You mean you just got up?
Suddenly sleeping all morning feels like a crime. No, I meant lunch. Honest. She's not buying it. Brunch?
That's not a healthy breakfast at all.
She snatches my food out of my hand and glares at me. The hell is this girl doing? Hey, it's my breakfast.
What happened to it being your lunch?
That's my... Whatever, it's my food. Amy places her hands on her hips and begins lecturing me.
Did you really forget your dietary plan already? You need to be more conscious of your health, Isao. What about your heart?
My heart's fine the way it is. Mostly. All I get in response is a roll of the eyes.
I doubt that. You wouldn't be here if that was the case, would you?
The girl's got a point, of course. I'm not about to concede it. It's not that bad of a heart. Certainly I can handle a little grease now and then. Yeah, sure. Handle a little running just fine, too. Amy seems unconvinced. Not surprising, as I haven't even managed to convince myself.
Maybe, but not if you're sleeping the day away all the time.
A devious look suddenly crosses her face.
Of course, if you've been following your routine from the beginning, you wouldn't be in this situation.
Hey, I've had a pretty eventful week, you know. For example, I almost died, and then there was a lot of meeting people, and then I was on a roof for a while.
Which is no excuse for slacking off, you know. A little near-death experience, no excuse for skipping basic exercise. Like running in the mornings.
She nods as if something important has just been decided.
So it's settled then. You've seen the error of your ways and are willing to adhere to my routine, right? I'll see you bright and early in the morning. We'll be running buddies.
You know, you'd already convinced me yesterday that this was a good idea. You don't need to convince me again. Not that I did a good job of being convinced. She's right about eating healthy, after all. Here I am ordering up something grossly unhealthy. But delicious. There are more important things than deliciousness, aren't there? Like staying alive. If Amy weren't there browbeating me for my poor decisions, I'd probably... Hey, wait a second. A sudden question springs to mind. Hey, why the hell have you taken such an interest in my well-being? Amy shrugs and grins at me.
You're the new guy. I figure you don't have any friends yet, right?
Ouch.
Besides, I've caused you trouble all week, right? I owe you for not getting angry. I told the nurse I would anyway.
Crazy little running girl wants to make me healthy. I suppose there are worse fates. Okay, that sounds fine. Thanks for your concern. Tomorrow morning, then. I figure that ends the conversation, so I turn to leave.
Not so fast.
Feel a hand on my collar, and in a second I've been yanked backwards. Hey, no need to be so rough. What do you want now? Amy looks almost wounded by my annoyed question.
Thought you could use the company.
Her eyes narrow.
Besides, you were just going to try sneaking some more of that fried crap, weren't you?
Well, I wasn't going to, but now that she mentions it, it would have been a really good idea. I was not. Another glare. Okay, maybe I was going to get a little. The glare continues. Okay, a lot. Jesus, I'm a danger to myself and others, aren't I? I get done agreeing that I need to be healthier and then immediately start considering the next unhealthy habit that comes my way.
I knew it. You can't be trusted. Now I definitely have to stick with you.
This whole situation feels silly. I can only imagine what passerbys think of the sight of me being lectured by a tiny girl half my size. Maybe I should just give up for now. Fine, do what you like. I sigh. Might as well make the best of this. What do you want me to do? Emma thinks for a minute.
Well, I promised Rin I'd stop by your mural. So let's do that.
I confess I'm slightly curious as to how her mural turned out myself, so again I consider there are worse fates. I give a nod of assent and find myself almost dragged bodily through the crowds as Emmy races to our destination. By the time we reach the dorms, I can feel my heart pounding. My heart shouldn't be pounding after just that. I take a few deep breaths, willing myself to calm down. I'm one of the most normal looking people in the school, but I still have to be here. Sometimes I almost wish I'd lost a hand or something. At least then it'd be obvious that I belong. But instead, I don't even look sick. Even now, trying to catch my breath, I just look out of shape. Emmy looks back and notices my state of distress.
You're not going to die on me, are you? Please don't. It'll be all my fault, and I don't want to deal with that kind of guilt. Besides, after the last time, I really don't think I need to see that again, especially because the nurse will totally say it's all my fault.
Nah, I'm fine. Guess I need to start running after all.
And you wanted to keep eating your greasy, whatever it was. See, it's a good thing I found you, right?
Yes, it was. Maybe. Of course, I don't add that I wouldn't be in this state if she hadn't dragged me across the festival grounds. Further conversation is interrupted by the sudden appearance of Rin. Oh, it's you. Hello, Emmy.
Hey, Rin. I brought Hisao along because he was going to give himself a heart attack.
I was not. My objection goes unnoticed.
We stopped by to see how the mural turned out.
Rin nods slowly. Well, it's right there. You can see it pretty clearly. I find myself wondering how long Rin's been standing here in front of the mural. Has anyone even stopped by to look at it? Are we the first ones? Obviously, we're not the first to see it, of course. I mean, it's pretty big. You'd be hard-pressed not to see it. At the same time, I don't think anyone's actually talked to Rin about it. Anyone but us, that is. I feel compelled to say something. Looks pretty good. I'm still not happy with how it turned out, but I guess it'll do. She seems almost resigned to it. Not so sure what she expected as a result, but I guess she didn't quite get there. We stand in front of the mural, taking it all in. I try my best to concentrate on the composition of the thing. It's actually fairly interesting. The colors swoop and blend together, dragging me along with them. There's a dreamlike quality to the whole thing that makes me almost feel sleepy. I try hunting out some of the colors Emmy and I grab for her. Try as I might, I can't see any Prussian blue. Oh well, I'm sure it's in there somewhere. My feet start to hurt, but Rin doesn't seem inclined to move on. Emmy speaks up.
Hey, Rin, have you eaten?
Of course, can't survive otherwise.
What about in the past 5 hours?
Maybe, but I'm hungry again, so maybe that means I'm wrong. Emmy grins and claps her hand together.
Good, come get some food with us.
Rin nods in assent. Okay, we should hurry before they notice I'm gone. Somehow I don't think they'd care. Whoever they are. As we head back to the food stalls, I cast a long eye over the fried food. No, I'd better not. Pretty sure Emmy wouldn't let me anyway. We find a nice spot in the grass to sit down to eat our purchases. Well, my purchases anyway. Somehow I've wound up paying for all the food. Surprisingly, my unfried food is pretty good. Silence falls as Emmy and I eat and Rin stares at something or other, occasionally eating a bite or two of her food. I finish my meal first and lay back on the grass. Emmy glances up from her food.
Tired, Hisao?
A little, I guess.
Well, don't oversleep or anything tomorrow morning. We start our morning runs, remember?
Actually, they'd slipped my mind. I was actually just enjoying myself. Wandering around the festival with these two has actually been fun. Yeah, I'll set an alarm.
You better be there. I'll get angry if you aren't.
God forbid. I don't think God comes into it. Unless there's some kind of freak accident and your alarm clock shorts out. That might be a random act of God.
Well, don't cause any random acts of God then.
A plan forms itself in my mind. It's a plan that makes me feel kind of guilty, but I throw it into execution anyway. Damn it, I've earned a little fried food. Anyway, I'm gonna start running tomorrow, right? The actual routine all starts then, not now. Ergo, the dietary portion starts tomorrow, too. Ergo, I can have something unhealthy today. Sort of final farewell to all the stuff I used to eat with wild abandon before the hospital. Actually, I suppose I should head back to my room. I had homework to do, and if I'm going to run in the morning, I should make it an early night. Those narrowed eyes again.
You're sure you're not just gonna sneak off and buy some of that fried stuff over there?
Nah, I'm too full to bother now. Pat my stomach for emphasis. Besides, you two have cleaned me out anyway. Emmy giggles. A surprisingly pleasant sound. Another pang of guilt. She's got to know that I'm lying to her, doesn't she? Or is she just that trusting? I feel kind of like a monster.
All part of my master plan, Isao. Well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow morning then. Thanks for the food, and for keeping us company.
And here I thought she was doing me a favor. Rin nods in agreement. I won't say see you tomorrow because that'd be like predicting the future, and I'm pretty sure I can't do that. Okay. Bye, you two. I feel oddly glad that I decided to leave my room today. Not a bad way to start my second week here, I suppose. Once I'm sure I'm out of enemy's line of sight, make a beeline for the food stands and buy some cake. At least it's not fried, right? That's slightly better than I was planning to do. Still feel a little bad about lying to Emmy, though. She really does seem concerned about my health. I'll make it up to her somehow. Better head back to my room. Hey, I do have work to do. My book waits for me, and I flop onto my bed and read through the fireworks display. Eventually, all the walking around, or more accurately, running around, catches up with me. I really am out of shape. Emmy dragging me out in the morning to run might just be a good thing after all. It's something to look forward to. Hell yeah. I love Emmy so much, man. My alarm's beeping shatter. My alarm. Oh, Jesus. My alarm's beeping shatters the early morning quiet, and I find myself wondering where to find the motivation to rise. Class is still quite far off, but I agreed to run with Emmy in the mornings. Really, I'm not that interested in running as a hobby, or even as a possible life-lengthening exercise. However, I feel obligated to follow through on my promise to Emmy yesterday, which is why I find myself throwing on some running shorts and a light t-shirt. The cool morning air crests my face as the morning sunshine causes the dew on the grass to sparkle, nearly blinding me at first. As I make my way down to the track, an ugly thought strikes me. What if this is some sort of joke that Emmy's playing on me? Would that surprise me? Really? Hell, I'd probably do it to the new guy too. At the very least, I'm sure Emmy and Ren made a bet on whether or not I'd actually show up. I feel a sense of trepidation as the track comes into view.
You're late.
It would seem that Emmy is already there. What a relief. Not according to my watch. We both are early, in fact.
Damn, you got me there.
Emmy is sitting on the bleachers, decked out in her running gear, waiting somewhat patiently for me. I'm glad you're actually here. I was afraid that this was a joke or something.
Nah, I'd never make someone get up early for nothing. Plus, Rin owes me 500 yen now. She didn't think you'd actually show up.
I knew it. I just know Emmy was on my side, at least. Emmy hops off the bleachers and begins stretching out. She's remarkably lithe, almost like a dancer. I set out to stretch as well, but then I realized I don't exactly remember how to stretch properly. It's been ages since I stretched for anything, if you don't count my one stint at running last week. And even then, I don't think I actually stretched beforehand. The specter of my long hospital stay rises up again. Can't say I was all that active before the hospital stay, though, so maybe I'm just being morose. Emmy giggles as she watches me stretch out.
No, Hisao. Gotta hold it for longer than that.
I'm trying. Kinda hurts a little.
Ha, that's because you're out of shape. You've gotta get some flexibility in you, like this.
To demonstrate, Emmy reaches down and puts her head through her legs. God bless you, Emmy. I see. Is that the sort of thing I should strive for?
Of course. Flexibility is important for any runner. You'll be able to go faster the more you stretch out.
That makes no sense to me, but Emmy seems to believe it's true. With Emmy's help, I managed to stretch myself out properly. Can't help but notice that when she thinks about how to explain things to me, her mouth scrunches up in concentration. It's adorable. Hell yeah, it is.
Not bad, Hisao. Come on, we better start running. We'll start off with just a mile, okay? That's 4 laps around the track, got it?
Sounds fine to me. Shouldn't be too hard, right? A hazy memory of running a mile for gym class surfaces in my mind. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Emmy sets a pretty good pace, and I fall in behind her.
Try to keep up, okay, Hisao?
Roger. You're on the first curve without incident, though I can already feel my heart rate increasing slightly. By the second curve, I've started to breathe through my mouth. Emmy doesn't even seem to be breaking a sweat. As if to punctuate her superiority, she turns around and starts running backwards.
Are you doing okay, Hisao?
Never better.
Oh, really? Maybe I should speed up then,
Oh, no. Want you to overexert yourself? My heavy panting and wheezing makes the statement less convincing than I had hoped. Emmy simply smiles and turns around again.
You're the boss, Hisao. We'll stay at this pace.
I get the feeling that I'm being mocked. If I were in such terrible shape, I'd probably feel offended. By the third lap, my breath is becoming in ragged gasps. I'm also awash in my own sweat. Gross. We're on the curve to start our 4th lap, and Emmy looks back at me with a grin.
Here we go.
She takes off at a blinding speed while I stubbornly stick to my slower pace. By the time I get to the first turn, she's already rounding the second. As I struggle across the back stretch, Emmy continues running and catches up to me.
Come on, Hisao, you can do it.
I'd answer her, but I'm far too focused on getting air into my lungs and ignoring the burning in my leg muscles. Part of me wants to say something like, maybe you can, but I'm about to die here. But again, I doubt I can actually form words right now. Emmy keeps pace with me as I round the second turn and cross the finish line. Her sprint seems to have gotten her sweating. It actually caused her shirt to turn slightly translucent. It seems she wears a black sports bra. I feel a vague stab of guilt for being the sort of guy who stares at a girl's chest, but my legs and chest are burning so badly I can't bring myself to care that much.
Not bad for a first effort, Hisao.
Kind of you to say so. Emmy seems to be, if not out of breath, at least breathing a little more heavily than she was before we started running. Must have been the sprint that did it.
Hey, I've got to get a few more sprints in. You should walk around the track to cool down. Then we can stretch out and we'll be all done, okay?
Sounds great. My legs are on fire and my breathing is still heavy, but surprisingly my heart seems to be taking the strain well. Another triumph of medical science, I suppose.
You should put your hands behind your head. Makes it easier to catch your breath.
Surprisingly, she's right. I begin to stroll around the track, happy to feel my breath coming back to me. There's a blur as Emmy sprints by me. Watching her run is absolutely fascinating. It's not just because she's on prosthetics, though. That is interesting. The really interesting thing is the way her face changes. I only catch glimpses of it as she runs by, but her eyes seem to come alive with a sort of fierce joy, as if there's nothing else in the world but her and the track. By the time I've gotten to the final stretch, Emmy seems to have finished her sprinting. She's breathing heavily now, but she was wearing a satisfied grin on her face. She waves to me cheerily as I near her.
Feeling better, right?
Actually, yeah.
You want to take another lap around with me? I've got to cool down too, you know.
Part of me would rather sit down and not move, but something tells me that would be a bad idea. Besides, if I sit down, there may be no getting back up again. Sure, why not? Emmy's got her hands behind her head now as well, which makes her seem very relaxed. The positioning of her arms also pulls her shirt upwards ever so slightly, so I can see a small strip of her belly. I do my best to act the gentleman and not look, but the contrast of her skin against her red running shorts is rather arresting.
So how do you feel, Hisao?
Surprisingly good, actually. I'm sore and tired, but surprisingly good. As soon as I say it, I realize that it's true. Sure, part of me wants to lay down and die. I feel like I've accomplished something. It's almost like a glow throughout my body that persists despite the soreness.
Yeah, that's the runner's high.
Runner's high.
Yeah, has something to do with adrenaline?
Emmy thinks for a moment as we walk, trying to remember. Then she shrugs and grins at me.
I don't actually remember. It's a good feeling though, isn't it? Better than sex, right?
I open my mouth to respond shortly before processing what she just said. Emmy watches my face for a few moments before bursting into laughter.
sorry, I couldn't resist. You're just too easy.
Why did I agree to run with you again? Emmy just laughs harder. She takes a hold of my forearm and tilts it, allowing her to get a better view of my watch. Her face changes the moment she sees the time.
Oh no, we better get a move on, Hisao. Class is in an hour and I need to shower.
I should probably do that as well.
I need to see the nurse too. Maybe he'll write me a note for being late.
Why do you need to see the nurse? Amy points to her prosthetics as if that would explain everything.
It's important to check for irritation. You know, from sweat or friction or anything. Normally I only go after practice, but if we're going to be doing these morning runs, then I guess I'll see him twice a day.
Wait, so Emmy has only started doing these runs since I showed up? It's more convenient for you to run with me at a later time.
Don't be silly. We mean to start running in the morning for a while now. But if I didn't have a partner to run with, I'd be less likely to keep up a routine. It's always hard to blow off a commitment if you're going to let someone else down, you know? So he'll be my running partner for the mornings. We both need the exercise, so it all works out, don't you think?
Yeah, perfect. Did it have to be me, though? Well, I guess I can't complain too much. Emmy's pretty fun to hang out with. Hell yeah, she is. And she's right. I do need the exercise. Doctor's orders, even. Emmy waves a quick goodbye to me.
Right, I'm off. Come have lunch with us, okay?
What?
Lunch, you know, the meal in the middle of the day. Come have it with us.
Where?
The rooftop. Rin likes it up there.
When?
Lunchtime. When else? That was a silly question.
Yeah, I sort of felt like the need to ask all three for completeness sake. Emmy laughs and grins. I think I've ever seen a girl smile so much before.
Not bad, Isao. See ya.
With that, she takes off like a shot for the school building. I guess she's going to see the nurse first. I hurry back to my room and hop in the shower, only to find that the water takes a while to heat up. The shock of the cold water nearly kills me. I managed to warm the water a bit and spend some quality time feeling my muscles loosen. My heart, surprisingly, feels the least bothered by the run. I suppose that's a good thing, even if it does make me feel a little bit of a wuss. I mean, at least I'd have an excuse beyond I'm out of shape if my heart were bothering me. I guess I'll just have to keep this running thing up, otherwise I'm sure Emmy won't let me hear the end of it. It's only after I get out and dry myself off that I realize I've only 10 minutes left to put my clothes on and get to class. Crap. The hands on the clock finally set me free from the tedium of yet another fun-filled class. Getting up from my seat proves to be more of a problem than I anticipated. My legs are killing me from the morning's run. Maybe doing these with Emmy isn't such a hot idea after all. Still, the run's given me a hell of an appetite. I'm halfway down the hallway to the cafeteria when I remember that I've got my lunch with me. My parents saw fit to provide me with some prepackaged stuff when I moved in, and a good thing too. Always packed with students headed for the cafeteria. Going back is like swimming upstream, but I've got an appointment to keep on the rooftop. It takes me a moment to find the staircase leading up to the rooftop, but I'm willing to bet that Emmy and Rin aren't up there by now anyway. In fact, I think I saw Emmy among the bodies in the hallway headed for the cafeteria. Step out of the door to the roof and take a deep breath. Fresh air blowing against my face and body almost makes my legs hurt less. Maybe if I'm upside down. Part of me wants to be surprised that Rin's already up here. What's that going to accomplish? Things in the clouds. Can you just look at them right side up? Rin rolls her eyes in something approaching exasperation. And I want to get a new perspective. Is upside down really a new perspective? Aha! That caught her off guard. Rin looks pensive. I have a point. Maybe sideways. As Rin lays down on the bench to look at the sky, I give up. Fortunately, Emmy chooses that moment to burst through the door carrying 2 bags. She nearly takes the door off the hinges.
Sorry it took me so long. There are a ton of people in line.
She drops the first bag in front of Rin, and takes a seat on the bench next to her. You buy Rin's lunch for her?
Sometimes, yeah. I'd have Rin buy my lunch for me in return, but I'm not sure how she'd carry it.
Plus, I'd never buy her lunch. If Rin's offended by Emmy's comment, she doesn't show it. Emmy sniffs.
How ungrateful of you.
I'm not sure whether the two are joking with one another or if I'm witnessing... God damn it, I gotta keep my finger off the button. The beginnings of a cat fight. The 2 girls stare at one another for a few tense moments before breaking into smiles. Hey, Emmy, do you think being upside down is a new perspective on things? Didn't I already have this conversation? Emmy looks thoughtful, apparently giving the question some thought. After a deep and profound pause, she speaks.
I have no idea.
Well, at least she's as lost as I am.
Hey, he's out. You're coming to the track meet, right?
The question comes out of the blue and catches me off guard. I don't know yet.
Honestly, Hisa, after I went through all the trouble of letting you run with me in the morning, you won't even show up at my track meet?
Wasn't she the one that asked me to run with her? Actually, she didn't even give me a choice in the matter. Wait, no, I didn't say that. She beams at me as if I just agreed to give her $1 million.
So you will come after all. That's great.
I didn't say that either. I'll be going too, so I'll make sure he comes, Emmy.
Good idea, Rin. Maybe we can get some food or something after the meet's over.
Like I've just been conned, but not by these two. Or like by some outside force pushing me irrevocably toward my destiny. Or maybe I shouldn't read books that feature conspiracy theories so heavily, otherwise I might wind up sounding like Kenji. Still, I suppose that I've got to show up now. I don't think that I could stand against both of them being disappointed. I'd never hear the end of it. When is it again?
Next week, Sally. I just told you a few days ago.
Oh, you didn't.
I forgot? Well, you won't forget to come through, will you?
Of course I won't. Even make a note on the calendar or something. Rin nods sagely. That's probably a good idea, you know, unless time changes its course.
They can do that?
Rin gives a non-committal shrug. It hasn't yet, but you never know. This time it's Emmy who gives a shrug.
I suppose it can't be helped if it happens.
Unless you're a time traveler or something. You don't actually think that could happen, do you?
I don't think we do. Do we?
Rin shrugs again. That seems to be her default response to everything. I suppose not. I reserve the right to change my opinion at a moment's notice. For Rin, the statement makes a disturbing amount of sense. The fact that I realize this now frightens me a bit. I wonder if Emmy gets this feeling all the time. If she does, she's not showing it though. Emmy merely nods.
As expected.
What's that supposed to mean? This time it's Emmy who shrugs. It's like she's using Rin's own weapons against her.
Your response is the sort of thing I'd expect from you, that's all.
Am I really that predictable? Emmy's smile seems to border on gloating.
Nah, it's just that your unpredictability is pretty predictable.
That's alright then. I don't get the chance to see whether Rin's being serious or not as the bell rings. Didn't notice the lunch period slipping by at all. Hanging out with these two was far too interesting. Emmy jumps up, a look of panic on her face.
Oh no, I need to stop by my room to pick up my notebook for the next class.
Don't you wish you had a time machine now? Rin seems rather smug as she delivers this line, like she just won an argument. Emmy ignores Rin's comment.
Sorry, Sal, but could you make sure our garbage is thrown away? I usually clean up after myself, but I've got to run.
Sure, no problem. Emmy darts away with an urgency I'm starting to expect from her. I don't bother asking Rin why she couldn't help. Sherry seems preoccupied with something else entirely as she wanders off. She's probably used to Emmy taking care of cleanup, and for some reason I doubt Emmy's ever raised the issue with her. Cleaning up from lunch doesn't take too long, so I have plenty of time to toss our garbage and get to class. Misha greets me with a wave and a devious grin as I walk through the door.
Didn't see you in the cafeteria, John.
Yeah, I decided it was too crowded there. Misha's grin gets even wider.
Oh, really? Are you sure you weren't participating in an illicit rendezvous?
What? What are you talking about?
You were on the roof, right? With both Rin and Emmy, no less. You Casanova, you.
We just had lunch, that's all. Misha bursts into laughter, drawing the attention of several of my classmates.
Ah ha ha ha! You're so adorable when you blush like that, Hee-chan.
She gives me a conspiratorial wink.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
There's no secret.
Oh?
Misha seems disappointed, then brightens up again.
Time will tell.
I don't know what the hell she's talking about, but blessedly our teacher comes in and the class starts. Another day of class has finally dragged itself to a close. Unexpectedly, I managed to stay awake for the whole day. I'm pretty sure that counts as a miracle. My legs seem unwilling to stand up for a moment. I guess the run took a lot out of me. I head down the hallway and make my way to my room. I sat down and half-heartedly chip away at my homework for a while, feeling like a vulture picking at a particularly unsavory carcass. It knows this is what it eats, but it's not sure that it shouldn't be ordering takeout instead. I don't think I can take this, but it's important to get my work done. Now, let's see. What was I supposed to be looking over again? Oh, it's a losing battle, but I fight it anyway. Halfway through my math homework, I put my pencil down. This isn't working. I need a distraction. Unfortunately, my options for distractions are rather slim. I'm not in the mood to read right now. Kenji is, unusually, out of his room at the moment. If I go to the student council room, I'll just end up doing work for those two. Heaven only knows where everyone else is, except for... Well, I suppose that's an option. I grab my shoes and head for the track. Emmy's probably down there. Track practice is just ending as I arrive at the track. The sun's beginning to dip low into the sky. Has it really gotten that late already?
What are you doing down here, Sal? Come to spy on me, have you?
I give a shrug. To be honest, I'm not sure why I'm down here. I don't have anything better to do. I figure that's about right. At the moment, Emmy's the only person I can think of who I could visit.
So I'm your last resort, am I? Nobody cool around, so I'll just go see Emmy. Is that what you thought?
She actually looks angry. Chance for some teasing of my own presents itself. Actually, yeah, I guess you are. Emmy pouts, widening her eyes to give the maximum amount of puppy dog resemblance. Kidding. I was kidding.
So you aren't down here to stalk me.
Wait, what? That's not what I meant. Why would I stalk you anyway? It's not like you require stalking. If you're not asleep or in class, you're down here, right? Emmy laughs at this comment.
Well, you're not all wrong, I suppose. But you forgot about eating. I do that too, you know.
I nod, conceding the point.
Plus, I hang out with Rin sometimes too. So really, I might take some effort to stalk.
What do you two do together anyway? You don't seem to have a lot in common. She puts her hands on her hips and assumes a superior air.
That's what you think. I've got all sorts of hidden hobbies, you know.
Oh, really? Like what? Emmy puts her head to one side as if she's trying to remember what it is she does in her free time.
Well, Rin and I go out shopping sometimes.
I guess that makes sense. Emmy's a girl after all. But Rin? Rin comes with you?
We usually swing by the art supply store. Plus, she likes this music store that sells all kinds of weird sounding stuff. She says it helps focus her.
That makes a little more sense. I see. Any other hidden hobbies? Emmy wags a finger at me.
Now, why would I go and reveal all my dark secrets to you? We hardly know one another.
Somehow I think that's all that Emmy has in the way of hobbies. Still, I don't think my question's been answered. Even if you do have a few hobbies, I just don't see why you hang out with Rin so much. I mean, she's kind of weird, isn't she? This comment causes Emmy to laugh loudly.
Ha! That's the understatement of the year.
So why? I mean, you're a lot better at conversation and stuff, so I figured you'd hang out with a lot of people. I think I've only ever seen you with Rin. Emmy seems unusually defensive.
Hey, I hang out with plenty of people that aren't Rin. You just don't see me doing it because I'm not in your classes.
Okay, but that still doesn't explain why you hang out with Rin. I'm not even sure why I want to know this. I guess it's because lunch was so strange. Emmy shrugs, looking for a moment very Rin-ish.
I guess because we have similar outlooks.
If you were to ask me the least likely answer to my question, that would be it. What do you mean?
It's like... Okay, Rin paints and stuff, right?
Yes. Not sure where this is going.
Well, I run.
And?
And that's why we're similar.
You lost me. Emmy frowns as if trying to figure out her answer.
But maybe it's that we do things for the same reasons.
Huh?
You know, we follow our passions.
So you're passionate about running and Rin's passionate about art, is that it?
Sort of. Let me think. Well, Rin explained it to me once, but I don't know how much of it I followed.
Not surprising. I think any explanation from Rin would probably confuse anyone.
She says we both chase after an extreme. Like she's always trying to find a new way to show a particular feeling or something. And I run because of the feeling I get from it. And since we don't allow ourselves to be slowed down by anything, we make a connection based on that.
What do you mean slowed down by anything? Amy looks surprised and points to her legs.
You know, because I'm a runner, and Rin's a painter, even without arms. So we respect each other's determination. And that's why we hang out. I think.
Well, I'm not sure that made any sense to me, but from Emmy's sheepish expression, she's not sure about it either.
Honestly, it's not something I think about much. We just get along. I think that's all that really matters.
I suppose she's got a point there. Another question strikes me, and since I've got nothing better to do, I ask it. So what got you so into running anyway?
Oh, I've been running since I was really little. My dad was a runner, and so as soon as I could walk, he started teaching me how to run. It was our father-daughter thing, you know? Our own mutual hobby.
Shadow crosses her face, and I'm shocked to see her looking sad. Did something happen between them?
Man, I don't have a lot of time left. Sorry, but I've got to get a few more laps in before I go see the nurse.
She races off toward the track, hair streaming in the wind. Seems to me she's going a lot faster than she was this morning. As she rounds the track, I catch a glimpse of her face. It's much the same as it was this morning, but I seem to have taken on a harder edge. I guess she's right. I don't really know much about her. I watch her run for a little while and then stand up to head back to my room.
Hey!
She spots me leaving and waves to catch my attention.
Don't forget, same time tomorrow morning, got it?
Got it. I head back to my room. Homework beckons. I can't sleep. My body's tired, but my mind is kept awake, staring at the ceiling in the hollow darkness of my room. I grasp desperately for a thread of thought, hoping that I can run my brain into the ground. All I can think of is how I can't think of anything. This is not productive at all. Wonder if this is a side effect of my medication, though it seems odd for it to take so long to show up. Then again, maybe I'm just not used to my new surroundings as I'd like to think. I don't know, but for whatever reason, I'm awake. I shouldn't be. This is ridiculous. Ignore my body's stiffness, I get out of bed and look at my clock. 4 in the morning. Last time I checked, it was only 1, so maybe I slept a little. I don't know. Throw on some clothes and head out of my room. A walk might do me some good. I'm surprised at how chill the air is compared to the relative warmth of the day. I almost see my breath as I wander the campus, waiting for the sun to come up or for me to fall asleep. At this point, either option works for me. I find myself at the track, where for the first time, Emmy's not out running. Suppose that makes sense. It's too early, even for her. The bleacher seats are cold, but at this point, I welcome the sensation. The sun is starting to show its face over the horizon, and I know with an awful certainty that I'll get no more sleep tonight. The sun's steadily strengthening rays start to warm me up, and I watch the dew on the ground begin to stream slightly. My mind calms down a little. Someone's shaking me.
Hey, wake up!
Huh? What? I guess I fell asleep after all.
What are you doing out here? You're gonna catch a cold or something.
I rub my eyes and am confronted by Emmy, who bends over me with a worried expression. I'm still a little groggy, so my response comes out in a mumble. Couldn't sleep. Watched the sun come up.
Sounds like something Rin would say.
I shrug, feeling the stiffness that comes with sleeping on a bench for a few hours. Is it? I wouldn't know. Emmy grins a little at my somewhat cranky response.
So, couldn't sleep, huh? Obviously, we need to run you harder today.
Even though I've only known her for about a week, this seems a very Emmy-ish response to the problem. Hey, my body was plenty exhausted after yesterday. My mind was just racing, that's all.
I don't see the difference. If you run hard enough, your brain will get tired too.
I'm seriously questioning the wisdom of doing this first thing in the morning. I don't know if my grades will be able to handle me tiring my brain out like that. Emmy pulls me up from the bleachers with surprising strength for someone her size.
Now come on, Hisao. We've got work to do.
I don't actually know if I'm up to this today, to be honest. I mean, obviously I didn't get much sleep, and what sleep I got was on the bleachers. I don't know. Should I really be running? Emmy glares at me. Good heavens.
What are you talking about? Of course you should be running. How else do you expect to work out the kinks? You've been sleeping on the bleachers for heaven's sake. Best way to get that soreness out is to run around a little. Now stop hiding in the bleachers and get down here.
There's no arguing that. I'm pretty sure she'd kill me if I didn't do as she had said. I get to my feet and hop down to the track. The sun is warming things up rather nicely, I think. Every night I begin to stretch out, and I find myself once again hard-pressed not to stare. This is how I have to wake up every day. I might be able to get used to this.
You know, Hisao, it's not polite to stare.
I wasn't staring, I swear. Emmy raises an eyebrow and considers me for a minute as if evaluating my response. There's a brief moment where I'm afraid for my life. But then she smiles and laughs, shaking her head slowly.
Honestly, you didn't have to deny it so strenuously.
In response, I clap my hands together and go for a change of subject. So, that's enough stretching, right? Emmy gives a casual shrug.
Do you feel stretched? That's really how you tell.
Well, I do feel up to the run, if that's what she means. Yeah, I feel ready to go.
Same as yesterday, okay? We'll just run for a mile at a steady pace. Don't worry about going really fast. Just worry about keeping the pace, got it?
You're the boss. Emmy grins again, we take off around the track. I think I'm going to die. I haven't done with the first lap, my legs are on fire. My breath is coming in ragged gasps. I feel sweat pouring down my brow, and we've only just now rounded the second turn.
Come on, Hisao. You've got 3 more laps to go.
I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I think I might hurl. Somehow we're on the second lap. Emmy's not even sweating. How can she do this so effortlessly? For some reason, I'm still moving. She's like a machine. Third lap. Up into the second.
Almost there, Hisao.
Liar, we've got another 2. Nothing to be done. I can't do this. Emmy whirls around and begins running backwards. Her face is a mask of anger that surprises me.
Never say that. If you say that, you've already lost. Keep moving. If you're alive, you can keep moving, damn it.
Whoa, language. We're on the 4th lap now. She really seems to want me to keep going. Legs move. 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 I feel so sluggish. I'm in mud or molasses, tar. I can't go on. I'll go on.
Final stretch, Hisao. Give it all you've got.
I pump my legs as fast as they'll go. They keep refusing to obey my commands. Somehow I keep moving. Somehow I finish.
That's it, Hisao. I knew you had it in you.
The anger Emmy showed a lap ago is gone, replaced with pride. She's positively radiant, like she just won the gold medal or something. I stagger to a stop and fall to my hands and knees, gasping for air. My heart is pounding far harder than it has in a long time. I don't think it's done this since... Oh god. Please slow down, heart. Just slow down. Stop racing. I cough, and for some reason I feel a grin crossing my face. So this is how I die, huh? Trying to stay healthy? How ironic. I'm all ready to give up right there. But then I feel my heart slow down. Two hands grab under my arms and tug upwards. I look and see Emmy standing over me with a mixture of delight and worry.
On your feet. Come on, you'll never catch your breath that way.
Somehow I manage to stand. Try to raise my arms above my head, but they feel like lead. Start to walk around the track while Emmy keeps close to me, like she's afraid I'll fall over or something. She may not be far off. I feel terrible and say so. Emmy laughs.
But you finished, didn't you? You said you couldn't, but you did. Isn't that worth it?
I'm not sure. I don't really have the breath to say so. That small grin I felt on my face earlier hasn't left. So what if my heart's weak? Still survived this morning. Maybe I'll survive tomorrow too. Hell yeah. As soon as it becomes apparent that I'm not going to suddenly keel over, Emmy takes off on her sprints. I don't know how the hell she can manage to sprint after running a mile, but I guess she's in much better shape than me. Once again, as I walk around the track, I can't help watching Emmy sprint. It's weird, but she's like a different person when she's pushing herself. Last time I noticed her eyes, but this time it's her mouth that catches my attention. She's not wearing her normal grin. She's still smiling, but there's a tightness to it. It's almost grim, like she's fighting a losing battle but doesn't care. She seems to be running harder like she did yesterday. Sweat has started to pour down her face, but she keeps going. Her mouth finally opens as she can no longer get enough air through her nose. As she passes me once more, her legs pumping, arms swinging in time, and her lips slightly parted. She looks beautiful. Damn right she does. After we've both taken some laps around the track to cool down, Emmy changes back to her usual self. The transformation I saw in her is gone.
Not bad today, Hisao.
There's almost admiration in her voice. What do you mean? I would have stopped if you hadn't yelled at me. Emmy colors a little, seemingly embarrassed about her outburst.
Sorry about that. I just can't stand to see people give up. Especially about something like this. Saying I can't go on is silly when you're obviously going on while you're saying it. That's what this is all about.
What, saying silly things? Emmy sticks her tongue out at me.
Idiot. I mean showing that you're alive.
Showing I'm alive, huh? I didn't know it had to be so painful. But it does feel pretty good, despite that.
Besides, this is one of the hardest days.
What do you mean?
Whenever you start a workout, it's difficult the first day, really hard the second day, and then the third day is easier. You'll still get days that are really hard, but they'll pop up less and less.
So this will eventually get really easy, huh?
Yeah, of course. But then you have to increase the difficulty or you'll never get ahead. You'll just get complacent. You'll lose the sense of accomplishment.
So I'll have to run more than just 4 laps, huh?
Yep, but not for a while. You'll have to be careful, you know.
Thought strikes Emmy and her face lights up.
Got it.
Got what?
You can come with me to see the nurse. That way you won't fall over dead or anything.
How charming. When?
Right now, of course. You'll need a shower and everything, right? We don't have much time then.
Grabbing my hand, she's off, pulling me along with her. My goodness, but you're in a hurry today, aren't you, Emmy? I have no idea how we got to the nurse's office so fast, but here we are. Nurse grins at Emmy and seems to completely ignore me. You've got plenty of time to take a shower and get to class, you know. No need to run through the hallways like that. I can hear you coming a mile away. Somehow it doesn't seem like he's actually scolding Emmy at all. It's like this is a sort of routine between the two of them. Emmy does a passable imitation of remorse.
I'm sorry. I won't ever do it again.
The nurse and Emmy both laugh at some private joke. Suddenly, it seems that he notices me. Ah, hello, Hisao. What brings you here?
Hisao's officially joined me on my morning runs.
Sorry to explain, but Emmy cuts me off.
I thought he might need to visit you so that he doesn't die or anything.
The nurse raises his eyebrow in mock horror. Yes, that would certainly put me out of a job fast, wouldn't it? Oh, then, Isa, let's have a look at you. Lift up your shirt, would you? I'm suddenly very conscious of the fact that Emmy's in the room with me, blush in spite of myself. Nurse seems to sense my discomfort, but it only seems to amuse him. A bit shy, are we? He makes an apologetic bow to Emmy. Sorry, Emmy. I tried to get you a free show, but it doesn't seem to have worked. Emmy stiffens slightly and fires a look of annoyance at him.
You're an asshole.
Emmy bows to me apologetically.
I'll wait outside, okay, Sal?
I begin to stammer that it's not really that big a deal. She doesn't have to leave. She's already out the door and the nurse is laughing as he watches her go. Still got it. Ha! I don't follow. He laughs again like he's in on some joke that's over my head. I can still get her flustered. It's a competition of sorts we've had going on for a while now. That sounds incredibly sinister to me, and it seems as if the nurse realizes that too. Or that sounded a lot worse than it actually is, come to think of it. I wasn't going to say anything. Oh no, you're right. I should fill you in so that you don't get the wrong idea. I'm actually relatively new here, you see, so I got hired on the same year Emmy started going here. Before that, I worked with Emmy during her initial rehab following her accident. Hold on, what? They had to amputate her legs after a really nasty car wreck. It nearly killed her and succeeded. He shuts up abruptly. I blink, receiving this unexpected piece of news. Well, that's not my place to see it, anyway. Anyway, we've known each other for quite a while. So we have a slightly more familiar relationship than it is strictly professional. He seems embarrassed, like he's done something stupid. I guess he's really worried about that. Anyway, I wave a hand to let him know it's not a big deal. Don't worry, sir. I promise I'm going to be discreet. I had been worrying about what caused Emmy to lose her legs, and that was one of the scenarios I thought of. There are only so many ways that could have happened, but actually hearing about the facts, it's still a little shocking. Oh, thanks. You're a good kid, Hazao. I can see why Emmy became friends with you. She's quite indomitable, you know. What do you mean? You didn't see her learn to walk. She could go for so much longer than the others in the hospital. She refused to quit. Normally it takes years to get to a point where you can even think about running again. Emmy did it all in about a year. He almost seems proud of her, like a father who watches his daughter win a competition or something. No, she'd probably have done it faster if not for the fact that we wouldn't let her. Wouldn't let her? Why not? Because she'd go for so long that her legs would start bleeding where they met her prosthetics. It's a real concern. That's why she comes by every day after she runs. Say nothing of the risk of infection if her legs get cut up and her prosthetics are dirty. But enough about that. If we don't get you on your way soon, Amy will think we're up to something. As he says this, he gives a wink and begins checking my heartbeat. The stethoscope is way too cold. He really should have heated it up or something before he used it. After a few moments, he leans back, satisfied. Well, you sound pretty good to me, Sal. You didn't have any chest pains while you were running, did you? No, not really. I had some trouble catching my breath, though. My heart was racing by the end, too. Nurse frowns as I say this, but then shrugs. It's probably just because you're out of shape, but if you don't improve, then you should let me know, okay? Don't push yourself too much, and of course, if you have any chest pains, come to me immediately, right? Put my shirt back on, and then the nurse leans out of the doorway to call in Emmy.
What took you so long? I'm gonna be late.
The nurse gives me a significant look. I was just seducing Hisao, that's all.
What? Come on, what have I told you about seducing my friends?
I'd expected Emmy to be shocked by this, but instead she seems merely annoyed, scolding the nurse as if he were a child stealing cookies. Meanwhile, I tried not to blush at the nurse's innuendo. I'll try to do it again, though I fear young Hisao may be lost to the female gender forever. Not freaking likely. I didn't mean to say that out loud, but both the nurse and Emmy regard me for a moment before bursting into laughter again.
Told you it was funny, didn't I?
Guess Emmy does talk to the nurse about a lot of stuff. Well, Hisao, you should probably get moving. You still need a shower before class starts, don't you? Crap, he's got a point. It looks like I've only got half an hour. Thanks for your time. I'll see you later, Emmy. I dash out of the room as the nurse begins to remove Emmy's prosthetics. As I head down the hallway, I can just barely hear his voice drifting after me. Emmy, you've got to be more careful. Oh, well. Alright, but that is where I'm going to wrap it up for today. Bada boom. I fucking love this game. I really do. I'm sure I said it the last time around, but going through it again, I'm glad I'm doing this. I really am. I can't honestly. I can't wait to get to the more serious parts of the story, just to see how hard those still hit, because I'm sure they will. Honestly, Emmy's is probably the one that hit me the hardest if I think back on it. Hanako's had definitely hits a bit, but I think Emmy's is the one that like really hit me the hardest when I first played this around, which is probably why I'm more drawn to doing it this time around. Because when I try to think of who my favorite was, it was absolutely Emmy by a long shot. Hanako and Lily are also really great. I really enjoy their stories, but Emmy was by far my favorite. Not just the character, but the story that gets told as well. So yeah, really excited to see how hard that still hits all these years later. But like I said, that's going to do it for this recording. I will see y'all in the next one. Until then, peace.